Chapter 841. This was a good show of sincerity. The time and place were set by the human clan, which meant that they didn't intend to play dirty. Wang Daoyuan had some guesses about the attitude of the demon clan. There weren't many peak 5th rank beasts hidden on the demon clan side. If there were many greater demon monarchs, a dozen or so peak 5th stage greater demon monarchs could easily flatten the Yen kingdom. He would have nowhere to run. Since they chose to negotiate, they must not be confident in taking him down. Of course, there wouldn't be too few great demon kings. At least, they had a big advantage over the human clan. Otherwise, they wouldn't dare to show their faces at all. From this point of view, there should be 3 or 4 great demon kings on the demon clan side. They were much stronger than the human clan, but they weren't confident in winning. Wang Daoyuan naturally hoped to maintain a short peace and buy himself a few more decades of cultivation time. He wasn't worried about 6th rank beasts coming out. Whether it was humans or beasts, the spiritual power in their bodies was constantly dissipating. And the older they were, the more serious the dissipation would be. This was also one of the important reasons why it was difficult for humans and beasts to break through in their later years. Some sleeping secret techniques could reduce the consumption of spiritual power, but they couldn't completely eliminate it. Even if there were 6th rank beasts sleeping, they had been sleeping for more than 20,000 years. These beasts were not young, and the dissipation of spiritual power was very serious. Many beasts exhausted their spiritual power in their sleep and never woke up again. Even if there were 6th rank beasts who could wake up, with the concentration of spiritual energy in Beiyuan, it would be good enough to maintain their spiritual power. It was basically impossible to recover to the peak without hundreds of years. If they dared to show up now, it wouldn't be enough for him to deal with. Thinking of this, he controlled Jiaqi and said, "Since the demon clan is so sincere, we naturally have no problem. I will report back to the Grand Emperor and ask him to contact the 4 top forces and the Zhou and Qin kingdoms. When the major forces come to a conclusion, we will give the demon clan an answer." After that, he threw a communication jade token over. The white feather chicken took the jade token. "In that case, I'll wait for the good news." After that, it left the vicinity of Wanchuan Market and headed east. Wang Daoyuan sighed. This white feather chicken was quite heartless. Its grandfather was killed by him, but it still didn't care. He didn't know if it really didn't care or if it had other motives. No matter what, since there was a chance for a temporary ceasefire, it was better to seize it. Wang Daoyuan also immediately sent a message to his master and the other powers through the Divine Weapon Pavilion. These forces reacted very quickly. Soon, news came that they would send people to the Yen Kingdom to negotiate with the demon clan. Half a month later, 6 Yuanian cultivators arrived at Qingli City. They were Reverend Mo Yang of the Divine Weapon Pavilion, Reverend Tian Diao of the Celestial Arcanum Sect, Reverend Lai Feng of the Tai Sword Sect, and Reverend Xian Shuang of the Wind Snow Deity Palace. Wang Daoyuan knew all 4 of them. They had fought side by side in the past when they had suppressed the devil race in the southern wasteland. Among them, Daoist Mo Yang was an old enemy. When Daoist Lei Yen was trying to form his nascent soul, Daoist Mo Yang had intervened. Later on, during the chaos of the demons, he performed meritorious service and was pardoned of his sins. Now that the enemy was right in front of them, he had no choice but to break through to the Yuanning realm. These 4 people were the upper echelons of the 4 great sects, but none of them were the sect leaders. The 4 top forces also held back, afraid that the demon race would play dirty tricks. Even if these people died here, it wouldn't shake the foundation of the 4 great sects. The Zhou and Qin kingdoms had no choice. They only had 1 Yuanian cultivator now and couldn't send anyone else. They could only send the Grand Emperors of the 2 kingdoms. Wang Daoyuan received the 6 people in the Qingli City Imperial Palace. Daoist Master Feng Yi was still very enthusiastic. The moment he entered the Imperial Extreme Hall, he smiled and said, "Nephew's son-in-law is really capable. You actually killed a peak rank 5 great demon king. If it wasn't for your deterrence, the demon race probably wouldn't have compromised so easily." Daoist Master Feng Tian also said, "For the demon race to be able to compromise, Martial Nephew Daoyuan has indeed contributed greatly." Wang Daoyuan asked, I wonder what everyone's opinion is on the demon race's request for peace? Daoist Master Mo Yang replied. Sect leader and martial nephew Lei Yen both agreed to the peace talks. Before I came, the two of them instructed that everything will be decided by you. Daoist Master Feng Tian nodded. It's hard to say how much foundation the demon race in the West Sea has. If we can negotiate with the demon race in the sky/mountain range, it would naturally be excellent. My elder brother also said that the matter of the peace talks will be decided by you. We only came here to express the approval of the various major factions. The others expressed their approval and reached a consensus. Wang Daoyuan said, since everyone agrees, then I'll reply to the demon race. Seniors, what are your opinions on the location of the negotiation? Daoist Master Feng Yi replied, the location of the peace talks is not suitable to be in the human race's hinterland. If the demon race has any tricks up their sleeves, our human race may suffer disastrous losses. Of course, it's even more unreliable to place it east of the sky/mountain range. If the demon race changes their mind, we won't even have the chance to escape. In my opinion, it's better to place it in Shanbei. There are fewer humans there. Even if a fight breaks out, there won't be too great of a loss. We will also have a chance to escape. Everyone had no objections. There was indeed no problem with the peace talks in Shanbei. After discussing the time and location, Wang Daoyuan controlled Jia Qi to send a message to the White Feather Chicken. The location of the peace talks was set at the Golden Horn Peak of the Falling Star Plain, and the time was set to be 1 month later. This Golden Horn Peak was the place where Jia Qi and Zhou Wan underwent their tribulation. The Taurus clan that occupied this place was exterminated by Wang Daoyuan. The other demon races in the entire Falling Star Plain did not dare to stay in the Falling Star Plain any longer and fled to the extremely cold icy plain. After that, no demon beasts dared to occupy this place. There was no need to clear the place for the negotiations. The demon race also responded quickly, agreeing to Wang Daoyuan's proposed location and time for the peace talks. The 1 month deadline also came quickly. Wang Daoyuan used a 5th-rank upper-grade flying boat to take everyone to the Falling Star Plain. After arriving at the Falling Star Plain, not long after waiting, 7 demon beasts flew over. Among them, there were 2 demon kings. One was an ice jiao, and the other was a fire attribute phoenix blood half-divine beast. The rest were 5th-rank lower-grade demon beasts with quite extraordinary bloodlines. All the demon beasts turned into their human forms and landed on the Golden Horn Peak. The original buildings here had been completely razed by Wang Daoyuan. The human race and the demon race found a few large rocks to sit on. After the two sides introduced each other, the demon race's fire phoenix said, "We are here to represent the sky-beheading mountain range, the extremely cold icy plain, and the demon race of the East Sea. The demon race of the South Wasteland and the West Sea have no connection with us. If the demon race of these two places and the human race fight, it has nothing to do with us." This was also expected. Most of the demon race of the South Wasteland were ferocious beasts with extremely low intelligence. The masters of the West Sea were all primordial beasts. They really looked down on these half-divine beasts. Wang Daoyuan also replied, "The demon race of the West Sea and the South Wasteland has nothing to talk about. It's enough that you can represent the sky-beheading mountain range, the extremely cold icy plain, and the East Sea. You are the one who proposed the peace talks. The 4 top forces of the human race and the cultivators of the Zhou and Qin countries are already here. If the demon race has any requests, you can make them." The Fire Phoenix replied, "I represent the demon race of the sky-beheading mountain range. The sky-beheading mountain range is the territory of the demon race. As long as the human race retreats from the sky-beheading mountain range, the demon race will definitely not attack the human race." The Ice Flood Dragon added, "Huiyan Mountain is the boundary between the human race and the demon race's territory. The North Mountain is also the territory of the demon race. If the human race retreats from the North Mountain, the demon race will not attack the human race again." Now, not many demons dared to show their faces to the west of the sky-beheading mountain range. On the North Mountain range, the demon race did not dare to leave the extremely cold icy plain. These places were already considered the territory of the human race. The demon race's request was tantamount to asking the human race to admit defeat. As soon as this was said, the human cultivators were filled with righteous indignation. Wang Daoyuan sneered and said, "The human race originally thought that the demon race was very sincere, so we were willing to negotiate. From the looks of it, you don't take the human race seriously. If I can kill a greater demon king, I don't mind killing 2 more. If you want to continue fighting, I have no objections. I just want to see if I can completely eliminate the demon race from Beiyuan." Chapter 842. Both sides were very angry. If they continued to talk like this, they would definitely not compromise, and might even fight. A mid-rank 5th-rank sea turtle hurriedly persuaded, "Both sides don't want to continue fighting. What our Grand Demon King proposed is only the conditions we want. If the human race was dissatisfied with something, they could always discuss it with each other. If the talks fail and the 2 races continue to fight, it won't be good for either side." Since the demon race had a peacemaker, the human race naturally needed someone to come forward and say a few beautiful words. Daoist Windwing said, "Nisin-law, although the demon race's request is rude, we humans are reasonable. Let's talk slowly. If the demon race doesn't give in, it won't be too late for us to make a move. Although my cultivation is low, if I blow up my yuanying, it won't be a problem for me to seriously injure a few 5th-rank demons." After these words were spoken, the demon race was somewhat afraid. They belonged to different races, and their cohesiveness couldn't be compared to the human race. If the yuanying cultivators of the human race died, other forces would take care of their descendants. If the demon race's Grand Demon King died, other groups would only fight for territory. The first thing these 5th-rank demons had to consider was not the demon race's problem, but the problem of their own groups. After Daoist Windwing expressed his position, Wang Daoyuan stated his conditions. The Heaven/Mountain Range and the north of Mount Huiyan are not demon race's territory. The human race won't withdraw. Huofeng had an unhappy expression on her face. Since 10,000 years ago, the Heaven/Mountain Range has no human force. This Heaven/Mountain Range is naturally our demon race's territory. Dao Yu is lying through your teeth. Before Wang Daoyuan could refute, Daoist Mo Yang angrily said, "How did our human race withdraw from the Heaven/Mountain Range? You should be very clear. 10,000 years ago, the demon race was in turmoil, and you demons were just onlookers. The yuanying cultivators of our human race were almost wiped out, and you took the opportunity to occupy the Heaven/Mountain Range. When we defended Beiyuan, you didn't contribute a bit, and there were even many demon race that wallowed in the mire. Most of you 5th-rank demons cultivated to the 5th rank 10,000 years ago. When the demon race invaded, where were you? After repelling the Devil Clan, you still wantonly attacked our human clan's industries in the Heaven/Mountain Range. We humans have shed blood and sweat, yet we still have to give up our territory to you demons. How shameless!" Wang Daoyuan continued, "There are already some human businesses in the Heavens Beheading Mountain Range. It's impossible to leave the Heavens Beheading Mountain Range. You can snatch it, but I'm afraid you don't have the strength to do so. You said that the Heaven/Mountain Range is the territory of the demon race, but when have we, the human race, ever admitted it? Over 10,000 years ago, the Heaven/Mountain Range was mostly human territory. You demons are borrowing the hands of the devil race to seize the territory of the human race. Are you planning to join hands with the devil race to divide Beiyuan? More than 70,000 years ago, when the demon race invaded, the human race and the demon race made a blood oath to fight against the demon race together. The ancient blood oath wasn't just an oath. It also had the blessing of many powerful figures of the 2 races. It could punish the descendants of the 2 races. Those with lower cultivation bases would be less affected by the blood oath. At most, the providence bestowed by their race would be reduced. If one's cultivation was too high, they might be killed right away. No one knew how much power the ancient blood oath had left. If the ancient blood oath punished them, they would have nowhere to cry. The fire phoenix also had a bad temper. Don't slander us. When did we collude with the devil race? You humans have a lot of demonic cultivators. It should be you who colluded with the devil race. Perfected Xian Shuang had been silent. Now she couldn't help but say, if we colluded with the devil race, why did we use human lives to make up for the chaos of the devil race more than 10,000 years ago? If we really colluded with the devil race, you cowards have been hiding in the cave for more than 10,000 years. I'm afraid the demon race would have gone extinct by now. The demon race was in the wrong. They couldn't take any advantage if they continued to argue. The sea turtle came out again to smooth things over. Everyone calm down. Arguing won't solve the problem. The ice flood dragon also said, we can admit that the heavens beheading mountain range doesn't belong to the demon race. But what about Xianbei? The ice flood dragon was the demon king of the extreme cold ice field. He didn't care about the ownership of the heavens beheading mountain range. His words seemed to betray the demon race in the heavens beheading mountain range in exchange for the human race's concession. There weren't many high-level spirit veins in Xianbei, so their value was not as high as the heavens beheading mountain range. If they gave up some territory in Xianbei and took advantage of the heavens beheading mountain range, they would make a lot of money. It was more cost-effective to make appropriate concessions in Xianbei and divide the two major forces of the demon race in Xianbei and the heavens beheading mountain range. Wang Daoyuan said, Xianbei is not entirely a demon race. There used to be a large number of half-demons. The human race has never completely left Xianbei. The gate of the Wind Snow Palace is near the Arctic ice field. There are always small forces of the human race near the east of Xianbei. Now the half-demons have surrendered to the human race. Xianbei can't be handed over to the demon race. On the surface he sounded tough. In fact, the key point was that part of Xianbei belonged to the demon race. The two sides each occupied a part. The specific boundary could be discussed slowly. Compared to not admitting that the heavens beheading mountain range belonged to the demon race, this attitude was very good. The ice flood dragon immediately understood what Wang Daoyuan meant. He also knew that the Yen kingdom had many arrangements in Xianbei. The human race had the advantage in Xianbei, so the demon race didn't dare to go far away from the Arctic ice field. As long as the human race could give up a part of their territory, the demon race wouldn't lose out. Seeing that the ice flood dragon's attitude had softened, the fire phoenix didn't dare to insist. The demon race can give up a part of the heavens beheading mountain range. I heard that when Dao Yu was in the Golden Core realm, he had reached an agreement with the rank 4 demon race. The human race can build industries in the heavens beheading mountain range, but they can't seize the territory of the rank 4 demon race. Now, we can continue to use this agreement, but those rank 4 demon race can return to their original territory. The territories of the rank 4 demon race were near the main vein of the heavens beheading mountain range. This meant that humans were allowed to enter the periphery, but the area near the main vein was still the territory of the demon race. Wang Daoyuan snorted. Dao Yu has a good plan. You didn't mention the territory occupied by the demon race. The human race has the absolute advantage west of the heavens beheading mountain range, but you want to take more than half of the benefits here. In my opinion, the west of the heavens beheading mountain range belongs to the human race. How about we discuss how to divide the territory east of the heavens beheading mountain range? The fire phoenix was furious. The human race's appetite is a little too big. Do you want to swallow the entire heavens beheading mountain range? Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, the human race doesn't have such big ambitions. The demon race of the South Wasteland is just sitting by and doing nothing. It's all up to the human race to resist the demon race. There are still ancient mutant beasts in the West Sea that need our protection. We really don't have the ability to swallow the entire heavens beheading mountain range. It's just that I don't want the demon race to fly to my door the moment I open my eyes. The west of the heavens beheading mountain range must belong to the human race. Otherwise, we'll see who's stronger. In any case, you don't have the confidence to destroy the human race. It's even more impossible to exhaust the human race. The fire phoenix didn't want to accept this condition, but the ice flood dragon looked like it didn't care. If they continued to fight, they would be isolated and helpless. The human race's main target was the heavens beheading mountain range. They couldn't win by themselves. The demon race north of the mountain had the extreme frost ice plains and the ice sea in the north as their backing. They didn't care, But the heavens beheading mountain range couldn't stop the human race's Yuanian cultivators. After holding it in for a long time, he said, "We can accept that the west of the heavens beheading mountain range is the human race's territory. However, Stage 5 demon race and human race Yuanian cultivators can't cross the boundary. They can't take the initiative to attack the other party's demon race and human race. If the low-level demon race and human race cultivators want to court death and take the initiative to attack, Stage 5 demon race and Yuanian cultivators can attack. Even if there's a conflict, it will be settled by Stage 5 demon race and human race and Yuanian cultivators. In addition, when members of both sides break through, the other side can't interfere. This is the demon race's bottom line. If the human race wants a yard after taking an inch, then we'll continue to fight." Chapter 843. Wang Daoyuan guessed that it was probably because he had snatched Yan Hui's gift of heaven and earth and killed a large number of Stage 4 demons that had frightened these greater demon kings. After all, ordinary humans and demon beasts could not snatch the gift of heaven and earth from those transcending the tribulation. If there were no restrictions, no demons would dare to transcend the tribulation in the future. Otherwise, the demons would not restrict themselves and restrict the Stage 5 demons and Yuanian cultivators from attacking. Wang Daoyuan replied, "I can accept this condition of your demon race, but there are some special things. Linhai Prefecture has always been the territory of the human race. Although it is east of the heavenly/mountain range, the human race will definitely not give it up. The Wan River connects to Linhai Prefecture. Our human cultivators can pass through the Wan River, and the demons cannot stop us. In addition, what should we do with the remaining demons west of the heavenly/mountain range?" The Fire Phoenix thought for a moment and replied, "It's fine to give Linhai Prefecture to the human race. As for the Wan River Valley, the demons are more undisciplined. We greater demon kings are not confident in controlling them all. I can only guarantee that the Stage 5 demons will not attack. We will take away all the demons west of the heavenly/mountain range that are willing to follow us. We will not care about those who are unwilling to follow us." This condition was not bad. They also needed to leave some demon beasts west of the heavenly/mountain range. If they were all killed, where would the human race hunt demon beasts in the future? The Ice Flood Dragon asked, "The matter of the heavenly/mountain range has been settled. How should we distribute the territory in the northern mountains?" The demons of the heavenly/mountain range had already made a lot of concessions. They definitely held a grudge. If they suppressed the demons in the northern mountains too much now, it would be even more difficult for the human race if the two sides joined forces. It was better to give the demons in the northern mountains a little more concessions and let the demons in the heavenly/mountain range be the only unlucky ones. In a situation where their hearts were unbalanced, the demons on both sides would have conflicts. The northern mountains were really not much. It was a bitter cold land, and it was difficult for mortals to survive. From Mount Huiyan to the southernmost point of the extreme frost icy plains was hundreds of thousands of kilometers, close to 200,000 kilometers. There were not many places that were truly suitable for humans to reproduce. Only within 5,000 kilometers north of Mount Huiyan, they could establish families like in the southern mountains. Mortals could not survive in the Hades River where Zhong Zhenyang and the other families were. They had to be protected by array formations and the space. Mortals didn't have enough space to move around, so they couldn't get enough food. Their population would also be greatly affected. 10,000 miles north of Mount Huiyan, it was mostly a desert. It wasn't a big deal to give up some of this place. Logically speaking, Shanbei is the territory of humans, demons, and half-demons. It should be divided into 3 parts, with the demons taking 1/3. But since the half-fiends have submitted to us humans, we don't want to be too overbearing. In the territory of Shanbei, the original territory of the Wind Snow Deity Palace remained unchanged. The other areas were divided equally between the two races, with the middle line between the heavenly/mountain range and the extreme frozen ice plains as the boundary. The northern part of the mountain also overlaps with the heaven/mountain range. The territory south of the dividing line and west of the heaven/mountain range belongs to the human race. The territories north of the demarcation line have nothing to do with the human race. Let's follow fellow Daoist Fire Phoenix's explanation about the restrictions of nascent soul cultivators and fifth-order demons. This is the final concession that our human race will make. If you're not satisfied, then we'll have to attack. The sky/mountain range extended all the way to the depths of the Arctic ice plains. There was a large overlap between the northern part of the mountain and the sky/mountain range. The demons on both sides had been fighting for the overlapped areas. Wang Daoyuan's words were to plant nails in the demons on both sides and let them slowly fight among themselves. The ice flood dragon didn't dare to think too much. It was already good enough to have a little. He didn't expect Wang Daoyuan to give him nearly half of Shanbei's territory. Daoyu is really straightforward. We'll divide it according to this boundary. We have no objections. Fire Phoenix looked at the ice flood dragon's smug face and was very unhappy, but she couldn't say anything. The mid-grade rank 5 sea turtle said, "May I ask how the territory of the human race and the East Sea monster race will be divided?" Wang Daoyuan replied, "With the edge of Linhai Prefecture as the boundary, it will extend 5,000 miles into the sea. It will be the territory of the human race." There was a little more to it. Linhai Prefecture was the Wanchuan River Delta. It would continue to extend into the sea, and the territory would continue to expand. The Heaven/Mountain Range and the Shanbei demon race had both sent great demon kings. Only the East Sea monster race only sent a mid-grade rank 5 sea turtle. It seemed that the rank 5 demons in the East Sea didn't care much about the human race. After all, the East Sea was vast, and the human race only had Linhai Prefecture that bordered the East Sea. Their influence was still too small. No matter how strong the human race was, it was impossible for them to move everyone to the sea. The sea turtle didn't care about this matter. Let's do as Daoyu says. In the future, we will also abide by the agreement between the two races. Now that they had reached a consensus on the major issue, they discussed a few more details before both sides went their separate ways. Wang Daoyuan steered the flying boat and brought everyone back to Qingli City. After entering the palace and activating the soundproof array, everyone dared to laugh. Perfected Lin smiled and said, "I didn't expect the demons to be so easy to fool." Daoyuan even planted nails in the demons and made them fight among themselves. As long as we can buy a few hundred years, our human race will have an absolute advantage. At that time, it won't be a problem to take down the entire Heaven/Mountain range. We can also focus all our energy on the West Sea and prevent those primordial beasts from coming ashore again. Perfected Lai Feng, who had been expressionless, also had an unconcealable smile on his face. This time, we have temporarily settled the demons in the east and north. We can also take a breather. Perfected Xianxia asked, "Martial nephew Daoyuan, half of the territory in the north of the mountain is in our hands. How do you plan to deal with it?" The Heaven/Mountain range and the north of the mountain had taken down a lot of territory. The other 3 top forces couldn't control the north of the mountain. Only the Yen Kingdom and the Wind Snow God Palace had a lot of territory in the north of the mountain. As for how to divide the territory, it was better to talk about it in advance. Wang Daoyuan answered, "Let's make it simple and divide it in the middle. The small Xing Kingdom to the north of the Zhou Kingdom is located between the west coast and the Heaven/Mountain range. The east of the Xing Kingdom is guarded by the Yen Kingdom. The west of the Xing Kingdom is guarded by the Wind Snow God Palace." Martial Uncle Xian Shuang, what do you think? Perfected Xian Shuang nodded. In your opinion, it doesn't matter if it's more or less. In case the demons invade in the future, we don't know who to take care of them. I won't be staying any longer. The details of this negotiation can't be clearly explained in the letter. I should return to the Wind Snow Deity Palace as soon as possible and report this matter to the Palace Master. Finished speaking, he bid farewell and left Clear Glass City. The others also took their leave. After all, this was a major matter that concerned the two races. After such a big change, they had to go back and change the deployment of their own forces as soon as possible. Spiritual Master Lin was the happiest. Although the northern mountain region near the state of Qin was under the jurisdiction of the Wind Snow Deity Palace, It was still under the jurisdiction of the Wind-Snow Deity Palace. However, the Wind-Snow Deity Palace had never been in charge of worldly affairs. The state of Qin itself had occupied a lot of territory in the northern part of the mountain. Now that the demon clan had retreated nearly 100,000 miles, the Qin state's room for expansion immediately increased. After the crowd dispersed, Wang Daoyuan was also thinking about how to manage the affairs of Shanbei and the Tianzhan mountain range. Shanbei was easier to manage. Places closer to Mount Huiyan were set up in 1 or 2 counties. The barren land in the desert should be left to the half-fiends to manage. All half-demons could cultivate, and as long as they had spirit veins, they could survive. They weren't afraid of the harsh environment. Let them act as a buffer zone between the human race and the demon race. If the demon clans were to cause trouble, they would be able to fend them off. These half-demons had already submitted to the Yen Kingdom. Letting them develop those bitter cold lands would also bring a lot of benefits to the Yen Kingdom. As for the territory west of the Tianzhan mountain range, it wasn't easy to deal with. The north of the Wanchuan River was naturally simple. They could just merge into Clear Glass County. The north of Mount Huiyan could also be set up as a county to manage. However, the Tianzhan mountain range stretched all the way to the heaven-destroying abyss. In name, these territories were under the jurisdiction of the Yen Kingdom. The Wang family's little bit of wealth couldn't manage it at all. It was too much of a loss to give it to the neighboring countries. Chapter 844. After thinking for a long time, he came up with a strategy. Since they couldn't develop it and didn't want to give it to other countries for free, they wouldn't say anything for the time being. The territory near Tianzhan mountain range was rich in spirit energy. It was a piece of juicy meat for any power. In the future, Beiyuan Xiaoxian would know that the territory of Tianzhan mountain range belonged to the Yen Kingdom in name. The Yen Kingdom didn't have to touch these places, but would other countries dare to snatch things from Wang Daoyuan? If they wanted to develop the land around Tianzhan mountain range, they had to give the Yen Kingdom benefits. These territories could be rented, sold, and exchanged. They couldn't just give it away for free. It wasn't a bad idea to use things that couldn't be used to exchange for good things that could increase the strength of the family. Of course, it was best to rent it to other countries. They could still get some benefits by keeping the ownership of the territory. No one deliberately concealed the fact that the human race and the demon race had reached an agreement. After all, the humans had benefited greatly, so there was no need to hide it. Soon, the news spread. Wang Mingchen and Wang Shui heard the news and came. Once they entered the hall, Wang Mingchen cupped his hands and asked, "Father, I've heard about the agreement between the humans and demons. Our Wang family doesn't have so many people to look after so many spirit veins. How should we deal with the territories that we got? Father, please tell me." Wang Daoyuan didn't answer directly. Instead, he had the intention to test Wang Mingchen. The territories west of Tianzhan mountain range are all under the jurisdiction of the Yen Kingdom. 100,000 miles north of Huiyan Mountain and east of Xing Country are also our Yen Kingdom's territories. With such a large territory, it's impossible for our Wang clan to manage it all. In your opinion, how should we deal with it? Wang Mingchen thought for a moment and answered, "Tianzhan mountain range is a piece of juicy meat. Our Yen Kingdom's foundation is still shallow, so it's impossible to swallow this piece of juicy meat. If we don't eat this piece of juicy meat, it's inevitable that people will think about it. Rather than that, why don't we use these territories to exchange for benefits with other countries? Our Wang family is the foundation of the Yen Kingdom. Our family's businesses are all concentrated in Qingli River. Therefore, we have to expand the territory of Qingli County. The territories to the east of Qingli Prefecture were also within the Qingli Prefecture. They should all be merged into Qingli County and be under the jurisdiction of the Imperial Court. Shanbei should be under the jurisdiction of several counties. The place far away from Mount Huiyan was not suitable for humans to live in, but it could be given to the half-beasts who had surrendered. As for how these prefectures should be set up, I haven't thought about it yet." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "It's not bad that you can think of this in such a short time. 12th uncle, what are you going to do with these territories?" Wang Shui smiled and said, I think that Mingchen is right. We can only swallow the territory to the north of the Wanchuan River from the west side of the sky/mountain range. In the south, it was better to exchange benefits with other countries to avoid being hated by others. The eastern part of Qingli Prefecture should indeed be incorporated into Qingli Prefecture. The territories north of Huiyan Mountain and within the Sky Beheading Mountain range were also very valuable. In my opinion, we should just set up a prefecture and let our Wang clan's disciples be the prefectural governors. Let's lay a foundation there first. In the future, it will be more convenient for us to make a move on Zijinchuan. 2 or 3 counties could be set up within 10,000 miles north of Mount Huiyan, which would be used to settle down the rogue cultivators who sought refuge with the imperial court. This place was 10,000 miles wide from north to south and 400,000 miles from east to west. There were thousands of level 2 spirit veins. Apart from some important spirit veins and industries, the rest could be used to buy people's hearts. Tens of thousands of miles north of Mount Huiyan, apart from a few large oases such as the Starfall Plain, the rest of the oases were of little value. We could split it into many prefectures to settle down the half-demons. If the leaders of the half-demon tribes could break through to Yuanying, they could be appointed as prefectural governors. Also, Zhongyang and the rest could set up a prefecture in the Nether King River Basin and let them do whatever they wanted. They could also restrain the half-demons and prevent them from having any other thoughts. In this way, the ones facing the extreme Frost Plains demons would be the half-demons and Zhongyang and the rest. Even if the demons attacked, our Yen country's direct descendants would not be easily harmed. Of course, we have to prevent the half-demons and Zhongyang from colluding with each other and not listening to the imperial court's orders. As for how to divide the territories, we need to study it carefully. Wang Daoyuan smiled. Mingchen, did you see that? The older, the wiser. Learn more from your 12th uncle. By the way, what is third brother doing? He doesn't hold a position in the imperial court or manage the family's affairs. I haven't seen him show up in the years I've been back. He has been managing the family for hundreds of years and is very experienced. Now that the Yen country's territory has expanded, there are too many things to manage. It would be a waste if we don't bring him out. Wang Shui shook his head. What else can he do? According to the records in the Essence of God art, he wants to comprehend a God art. He has been in seclusion in the Green Willow secret realm. Mingchen and I have asked him to come out many times, but he refused. It seems that third brother really wants to be one of the pillars of the family. Unfortunately, his efforts were used in the wrong place. Comprehending a minor divine ability isn't something that can be cultivated in seclusion. Back then, I also paid a huge price. In the end, I was lucky enough to have some enlightenment when I fought Gu Qingfeng. It's not wise for me to ask him to come out and waste time on minor god arts. As soon as he finished speaking, a jade talisman that Wang Mingchen carried with him emitted spiritual power fluctuations. He checked it and said, Father, 12th uncle, 3rd uncle has heard about the peace talks between the human race and the demon race. He has already left the Green Willow secret realm and is coming here. Hearing this, Wang Shui smiled and said, with Dao Chang's help, I can also relax and strive to cultivate to the peak of the Golden Core realm as soon as possible and break through the Yuanying realm. Not long after, Wang Daocheng came to the main hall where the 3 of them were. As soon as he came in, he said excitedly, 7th brother, you are really amazing this time. When 5th uncle was still the patriarch, he set the strategy of a cunning rabbit having 3 burrows. For more than 300 years, we have been working hard to develop the Heaven/Mountain range. Now, the entire Heaven/Mountain range has become our family's private property. I didn't want to take care of things, but now that the Yen country has such a large territory, the current manpower shouldn't be enough. Mingchen, 3rd uncle wants to beg for a living under you. Give him an official position. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, 3rd brother, it's good that you are willing to come out. With you and the 12th uncle assisting Mingchen, I don't need to take care of these government affairs. It's better to improve my cultivation as soon as possible. With my current strength, it's difficult to deal with several demon kings at the same time. Now that the Yen country has such a big piece of meat, many people are thinking about it. My cultivation is higher, so I can deter them. Wang Shi smiled and said, "Don't worry. With Dao Chang and me assisting, it's more than enough to govern the Yan country." Wang Daoyuan returned to the underground cave abode under the Jade Spring and continued to cultivate. He wanted to improve his cultivation to the late stage of the Yuanying realm as soon as possible. However, before he could cultivate for a month, someone came to visit him. This person was an old acquaintance. It was the minister of the Zhao state, Zhao Jinghua. He came with a big scheme. Wang Mingchen, the 12th uncle, and the third brother didn't dare to make the decision. Wang Daoyuan had to come out personally. Zhao Jinghua came on behalf of the Zhao Emperor. The Zhao Emperor wanted to exchange or buy the territory south of the Wanchuan River and the Sky Beheading Mountain Range. This territory wasn't small. In addition to the eastern part of Linchuan County, there was also the Wanlong Mountain that spanned 4 counties south of the Zhao state. The Wanlong Mountain Range was a remnant of the Sky Beheading Mountain Range. It was more than 100,000 miles long from east to west and nearly 50,000 miles wide from north to south. South of the Wanlong Mountain Range was the territory of the Song and Qi states. The Zhao Emperor had a big appetite, but the Zhao family's teeth weren't very good. The Qi and Song states in the south were old aristocrats of the Zhou state. Their ancestors were Yuanying cultivators. Now that they had a level 5 spirit vein, Yuanying cultivators would soon appear again. If the Zhao state didn't have Yuanying cultivators, it would be difficult for them to make a name for themselves even if they obtained the Wanlong Mountain Range. However, he didn't need to worry about the Zhao family. This was the first business deal. Let's do it first. Chapter 845. Wang Daoyuan came to the Imperial Hall of Qingli City. Wang Mingchen, 12th uncle, and third brother were already there to receive Zhao Jinghua. Seeing him arrive, Zhao Jinghua bowed and said, "Greetings, Yan country's retired emperor." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need to be so polite. I heard that Emperor Zhao wants the territory in the Sky Beheading Mountain Range. What are your plans?" Zhao Jinghua replied, "Under Emperor Zhao's orders, I want to buy the territory east of Linchuan County and part of Wanlong Mountain from Yan country. I hope that retired emperor and his majesty will allow it." Zhao country was a bit interesting. They only wanted part of Wanlong Mountain to avoid the border with Song and Qi. Currently, Zhao country and Song country only had the border of Wuqing Pass in name. There was also the 6th prince's small imperial court between them. The 6th prince was already over 900 years old, and there weren't any outstanding figures among his descendants. When he died, Zhenan Kingdom would fall into the hands of Thousand Spirit sect. At that time, there would be an unavoidable war. Wang Daoyuan originally wanted to sell these places. If Zhao country wanted to buy it, there would be no problem. With Yan country's current strength, there was no need to care about Zhao country and Song country. No matter who won or lost, they would not dare to have any ideas about Yan country. Selling these places is not a problem. How much of Wanlong Mountain does Emperor Zhao want, and how much? Hearing this, Zhao Jinghua's face revealed joy. Wang Daoyuan asked this, which meant that he agreed. As long as Zhao country gave a suitable price, this business was done. Emperor Zhao wants the 10,000-mile-wide area east of Linchuan County and the northernmost part of Wanlong Mountain. As for the price, Zhao country is willing to exchange Linhai County. Although there are fewer spirit veins and minerals in Linhai County, the territory is much bigger. Moreover, Linhai County is located at the mouth of the Wanchuan River. The territory will continue to expand. Hunting demonic beasts is also very convenient. The value of demonic beast materials is not lower than minerals. Zhao country's talents have withered. All kinds of minerals have been destroyed by the 3 sects rebellion. They can't take out anything good. If retired emperor and his majesty are not satisfied with this price, we can only buy less land. This price was indeed not bad. Linhai Prefecture was formed by the Wanchuan River and was mainly composed of plains. The entire Linhai Prefecture was in the shape of an irregular triangle. It was over 50,000 li from east to west, and had an average width of 30,000 li from north to south. Its area was equivalent to 3 to 4 times that of the original Qingli prefecture. In addition, after the Wanchuan River reached the lower reaches, it divided into many smaller channels. The spiritual energy in the river was comparable to that of a third-grade spiritual vein or a fourth-grade spiritual vein. Although the river delta was extremely lacking in minerals, with the nourishment of the river, more than half of the land in Linhai Prefecture could be developed into spiritual fields. With so many spiritual fields developed, the number of cultivators that could be fed would be at least a few million. As Linhai State continued to expand, there would be more and more places that could be developed into spirit fields. Of course, in order to develop these spiritual fields, they would need a huge amount of manpower. The 13 families of Linhai had occupied Linhai Prefecture for tens of thousands of years, but the amount of spiritual land they had developed was far less than that of Guangyuan Prefecture in the Zhao country. With the growth rate of the Wang clan's cultivators, it would take at least 10,000 years for them to develop the entire Linhai state. Of course, this was just an ordinary method. Wang Daoyuan could make puppets, and had enough materials. He could have his doppelganger make large amounts of puppets in the space of the Ling bead. Puppets had many functions. In theory, they could do all the work that humans could do. But forging, making seals and the like used up too much spiritual energy. Puppet spiritual energy was very weak and could not last long. The work of a Ling plant farmer did not use up much spiritual energy and could be done continuously. Puppets did not need to cultivate. With the supply of energy from the Ling gathering bead, they did not need to recover spiritual energy. One Ling plant farmer puppet could take the place of 3 or 4 Ling plant farmers. The method of making low-level puppets could also be taught to the forgers of the clan. It would take 30 to 40 years to develop an excellent Ling plant farmer. Low-level forgers would only need a few months to make a Ling plant farmer puppet. It would not take long to train him to do simple work. Wang Daoyuan thought for a moment and said, "I am very satisfied with the Zhao Emperor's price. Let's follow this price." But there are 13 Linhai families in Linhai State that have all been conferred nobility by the state of Zhao. There is also the Linhai Duke. How should we deal with these large families? Zhao Jinghua cupped his hands and said, "The Zhao Emperor has also considered this matter. Those families all have fiefs in Linchuan County. If they are willing to abandon Linhai State, they will all move to Linchuan County. If they abandon Linhai State, they will split their families into 2. The portion with nobility will move to Zhao. The portion that stays in Linhai State will be a normal family and will be managed by the state of Yan. In addition, the Linhai Duke's fief will also be moved to the west of Sky Beheading Mountain Range. We still want to leave a portion of our people in Linhai State." Now that Zhao is in decline, if Yuanian cultivators appear in Song, they could attack at any time. The Zhao Emperor wants to leave a way out for his family in Linhai Prefecture. I ask the retired Emperor and your Majesty to approve. This was human nature. Song was an old noble family. Although their inheritance was not very good, they had produced Yuanian cultivators and had a level 5 legacy magic artifact. Although Song Yan's cultivation talent was not as good as the Zhao Emperor's and Zhao Jinghua's, his chances of breaking through were very high. With Song Yan's character, once he broke through to the Yuanian realm, he would definitely attack Zhao again. That is not a problem. It is also good to leave more people in Linhai State. If everyone leaves, it will take a lot of effort for the state of Yan to develop Linhai State. I agree with the Zhao Emperor's proposal. You can just send someone to Mingchen. Zhao Jinghua bowed and said, "Many thanks for your permission, Your Majesty. I have another matter to discuss with Your Majesty. I heard Your Majesty went out to sea for several decades and found ruins left behind by ancient cultivators. Not only did you cultivate to the Yuanian realm, but you also obtained many Yuanian inheritances and level 5 treasures. The ancestors of Zhao were rogue cultivators. Although they obtained the inheritances of ancient cultivators, those ancient cultivators were only at the peak of Golden Core. Although they had part of the Yuanian inheritances, they did not have a level 5 magic tool to resist the Yuanian tribulation. The Zhao Emperor wants to use the Blooming Water Divine Lightning to ask Your Majesty to upgrade the ancestral seal of mountains and rivers to a level 5 magic tool." Wang Daoyuan had seen the seal of mountains and rivers before. Although it was a peak level 4 magic tool, it was not an ordinary item. This item was refined by Emperor Wu of Zhao in the past and was fused with the essence of spirit veins in Zhao state. In Emperor Wu's era, there were level 5 magic tool refining materials. The materials used to refine the seal of mountains and rivers were low-grade level 5 magic tools. However, Emperor Wu of Zhao's refining skills were not good enough and could only refine it into a level 4 magic tool. After more than 10,000 years of nurturing by the successive Zhao emperors, the magic tool's power was not much worse than a low-grade level 5 magic tool. If it could be refined into a level 5 magic tool, it would not be difficult to resist 5 Yuanian tribulations. As for the blooming water divine lightning, its value was very high. Although he had broken through to the Yuanian state, the power of a casual attack was far superior to the blooming water divine lightning. However, for cultivators below the Yuanian state, the power of the blooming water divine lightning was still very terrifying. He still had the incomplete earth divine lightning and fire divine lightning in his hands. With the Yuanian cultivator's control of the laws, it was not difficult to deduce level 4 magic tools. Although it might not be the same as the original version, the power would not be too different. The Zhao clan could deduce the blooming water lightning sword based on the blooming water divine lightning. The Wang clan could also deduce more cultivation methods and magic tools in the future. Wang Daoyuan nodded. I have seen the seal of mountains and rivers. The material is indeed good. It will not be a problem to refine it into a level 5 magic tool. However, I have a condition. The seal of mountains and rivers has been fused with various level 4 spirit veins in Zhao state, including many spirit veins in Yen state. I do not want my own spirit veins to be affected by others. Zhao Jinghua hurriedly cupped his hands and said, "Don't worry, retired emperor." After Yen state was established, His Majesty removed the spirit veins in Yen state from the seal of mountains and rivers. Now, only the spirit veins in Linhai state are left in the seal of mountains and rivers. Chapter 846. After the fall of Zhao country, the people in power were very good at handling matters. Zhao country's strength was no longer enough to threaten Yen country, and there were no conflicts between the two countries. If he continued to leave the spirit veins in Yen country's territory in the seal of mountains and rivers, it would only make Yen country's emperor and officials feel uncomfortable. If he removed these spirit veins in time, the seal of mountains and rivers would not have much power. Wang Daoyuan nodded and said, "I don't have any urgent matters now, and I can start refining at any time. But let me tell you in advance, a level 5 magic tool needs to be forged with the inner pattern. Therefore, this seal of mountains and rivers needs to be forged again, and the results of the previous nurturing may be damaged. It's better to restore the materials of the seal of mountains and rivers to level 5 first. When it's forged again, the spirit veins inside and the spiritual power of the materials will not be affected too much." Zhao Jinghua cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, retired emperor. Yen country can send people to hand over the land of Linhai state at any time. I'll go back and report to Emperor Zhao. Goodbye." After that he left the hall. Wang Shui and Wang Daochang sent him out of the palace gate. After the two came back, Wang Daochang couldn't hide the excitement on his face. "Seventh brother, you really have great foresight. The strategy of a crafty rabbit having 3 burrows has really come true now." Wang Daoyuan shook his head. "Now there's no difference between 3 burrows and 30 burrows. Everyone knows where our property is, and there's no place to hide. If we want to leave a backup plan, it's still Zijinchuan. We just reached an agreement with the demon race, and it's not suitable to touch Zijinchuan now. Let's wait. As long as I'm still in Beiyuan Xiuxian, no one will dare to have any ideas about our Wang family. However, with Linhai state, our Wang family will have unlimited space to expand in the future. Although there are few islands in the depths of the East Sea, we can always find some places to stay." Wang Shui was also happy. Zhao country's Gui water divine thunder is also good. If we can learn it, our family's Fu Hai art will have one more way to fight the enemy. Wang Mingchen thought for a while and asked, "Father, who will guard Linhai state?" Such a large piece of land with extremely high value required a person of virtue and prestige to manage. Furthermore, Linhai State was east of the heavenly/mountain range and close to the sea. There were many kinds of demonic beasts. If not for the Yuanying battle force holding the fort, I'm afraid there would be a lot of demonic beasts harassing us. This was indeed a problem. Yuanying did not lack battle prowess. Puppets and doppelgangers were all fine. However, there had to be someone to manage the affairs of Linhai Prefecture. Otherwise, how could there be any talk of ruling? In this aspect, clones and puppets were not very suitable. I'll summon the Black Ice Tortoise back to guard Linhai Prefecture. After the handover, he would think about who would be in charge of Linhai Prefecture. Take care of the handover of Linhai Province. At this moment, Wang Jian walked in from the outside. He was already at the middle stage of the Gold Core realm. Moreover, his spiritual energy fluctuations were not very stable. He should have just broken through not long ago. As soon as I came out of seclusion, I heard that the clan has expanded its territory by quite a bit. It should be lacking manpower. In any case, I've been the patriarch for over 100 years. Managing affairs isn't a problem for me. There are many clansmen cultivating in the Green Willow region. I don't need to manage them. If there's anything else you need, feel free to arrange it for me. Wang Shui said, since you need someone to manage the daily affairs of Linhai Prefecture, why don't you let Fifth Uncle go? With the Black Ice Tortoise guarding, there's no need to worry about anyone causing trouble. Hearing this, he was a little confused. Aren't only the Sky Beheading Mountain Range and the North Mountain Range our Wang clan's territory? How come Linhai Prefecture is also ours? Wang Mingchen explained this matter, and Wang Jian immediately became interested. That's not bad. Leave Linhai Prefecture to me. We've just negotiated peace with the demon race. The 5th-rank demon beasts won't come looking for trouble now. With the 5th-rank mid-grade Black Ice Tortoise guarding, there's no need to be afraid of the 4th-rank demon beasts courting death. There's nothing to be afraid of in Linhai Prefecture. Wang Daoyuan also took out a 5th-rank low-grade close combat puppet. 5th Uncle, with this puppet, even if there's a 4th-rank demon who doesn't know what's good for him, he can easily deal with it. After discussing these matters, Wang Daoyuan returned to Jade Spring Peak. There was no need for him to manage the handover. After only a month, the handover over in Linhai Prefecture was completed. Of the 13 families in Linhai, only the Gu clans Gu Chengfeng and Lord Linhai's second son, 2 Golden Core cultivators remained. The other 11 families were weak to begin with, and only had 1 Golden Core cultivator. There were also 2 families whose only Golden Core cultivators had died when the Zhao clan revived the country. Now, there were no Golden Core cultivators. The risk in Linhai Prefecture was too great. For the powerful families, it was a good place to establish their foundation. But for the weak clans, it was a place of death. They only left behind a small number of clansmen. Most of them migrated to the fief west of the Sky Beheading Mountain Range. Now that there were only 3 Golden Core factions in Linhai Prefecture, there was no need to divide it into 13 counties. Instead, it was divided into 3 counties. The area close to the sea, including the mouth of the river, was called Linhai County. East of Linhai County, with the Wanchuan River as the boundary, was divided into 2 counties, the South County and the North County. The 3 counties were about the same size, but the mouth of the Wanchuan River was in Linhai County. In the future, Linhai County would continue to expand. As the Linhai Prefecture overseer, Wang Jian was in charge of the 3 counties. The governor of the South County was Zhao Qinglang, the second son of the Lord of Linhai, and the governor of the North County was Gu Chengfeng. After the land was designated, the Wang clan began to migrate 100 cultivators and 50,000 mortals to Linhai Prefecture to spread their influence. Now that the Wang clan had more than 1 million mortals, 50,000 mortals were nothing. The demons of the West Sea didn't make any moves. Before Wang Daoyuan could recall the Black Ice Tortoise, Daoist Xiantian sent it over. With it overseeing Linhai Prefecture, there was nothing to be afraid of. The Zhao clan also reacted quickly. Zhao Jinghua sent the Seal of Mountains and Rivers to the Jade Spring Peak. When he saw Wang Daoyuan, Zhao Jingwa cupped his hands and said, "The spirit vein origin of Linhai Prefecture in the seal of mountains and rivers has been removed. However, the materials used to refine the seal of mountains and rivers haven't been nourished by level 5 spirit qi for tens of thousands of years. They won't be able to reach level 5 in a short time." It seemed that the Zhao clan was really anxious. Zhou Luan also sent news that there were movements in Song. It was most likely that Song Yan was preparing to break through to the Yuanying realm. Once that madman succeeded, and Zhao didn't have any Yuanying cultivators who could match him, Song would definitely attack Zhao again. It's fine. The seal of mountains and rivers materials used to be level 5. It won't be a problem to refine level 5 low-grade magic artifacts now. It's just that the spirit vein origin in the seal of mountains and rivers and the results of 10,000 years of refinement will be affected. Zhao Jingwa hurriedly said, "It's fine to lose some spirit vein origin. I wonder how long the retired emperor will take to refine it. I'm sure you know that Song Yan is restless. I'm worried that he'll come looking for trouble again if it's too late." The seal of mountains and rivers wasn't a complicated magic artifact. It wouldn't take much effort to reforge it. The main thing was that it needed to be nurtured in the crafting cauldron for a long time after it was completed. However, with the spirit pearl space, this amount of time didn't matter. 10 days at least, a month at most. Zhao Jingwa was overjoyed and took out a storage bag. The seal of mountains and rivers and the refining method are all in here, as well as the Gui water divine thunder. There are also some leftover scraps from refining the seal of mountains and rivers. I don't know if they'll be useful, so I put them all here. Wang Daoyuan took the storage bag. "Minister Zhong Zhengqing, please go to Qingli City to rest first. I'll send you a message when the refining is done." Zhao Jingwa took his leave. Wang Daoyuan returned to his underground cave residence and took out 2 thin animal skin books from the storage bag. They were respectively the refining method for the Gui water divine thunder and the refining method for the seal of mountains and rivers. Wang Daoyuan looked at the contents of the Gui water divine thunder. Sure enough, the 4th level of the Gui water divine thunder involved the true meaning of thunder. When using the Gui water divine thunder, one needed to take into account both thunder and water attributes. Thunder was the most masculine and yang, while water was the most feminine and yin. Wang Daoyuan deeply admired 5 Thunder True Lords' methods for combining the two together without any conflict. Chapter 847. As a Yuanying cultivator, Wang Daoyuan had a deeper understanding of the laws. After deducing the entire spell, he felt that the 10th Water Divine Thunder should be based on the water attribute laws, with the lightning attribute laws as a supplement. What the 10th Water Divine Thunder was good at was not explosive damage, but quietly infiltrating the enemy's weak points, and then releasing its power. It was a sneaky method. He had fought side by side with the Zhao family, and had also fought with the Zhao family who used the 10th Water Divine Thunder. The group of hotheads who used the 10th Water Divine Thunder mainly used the lightning attribute laws, and walked the hard and fierce path. It was obvious that Emperor Wu Zhao had gone astray when he cultivated the Gui Water Divine Thunder. He was also a rogue cultivator, and accidentally received the inheritance of an ancient cultivator, and no one to guide him, so it was not strange that he went astray. However, the Zhao Wudi brothers' talent was not bad, and they used this astray 10th Water Divine Thunder to make a name for themselves. Using this as a foundation, they created the 10th Water Thunder Sword, a move with stronger lethality. Going astray did not mean going astray. There were many ways to cultivate, and there was no absolute right or wrong. Water was also divided into yin and yang. Yin was silently moisturizing, water droplets penetrating stone. For example, Yulu and the water of the well were 10th water. Yang was stormy waves, splitting mountains and stones, majestic momentum, like the water of rivers, lakes and seas, was 9th water. The people of the Zhao family had cultivated the blooming water divine lightning to the point that it had the aura of raging waves. This should be called 9th Water Divine Thunder. Although it deviated from the original meaning of the 10th Water Divine Thunder, it was a lucky hit, and had another mystery. 9th Water Divine Thunder's power was very strong, but it also had its flaws. This point was the same as other water attribute spells. It needed the support of extremely strong spiritual power. Cultivators with poor talent, using the 9th water divine thunder, would not be able to produce much power. Zhao family's 10th water thunder sword, in a generation, only a few people could cultivate it, and it was most likely related to the astray path. The 10th water thunder sword was more ferocious, and the demand for spiritual power was higher. People who did not have excellent talent, cultivating the 10th water thunder sword, could not display enough power. And the real 10th water divine thunder, although the power was weaker, it was easy to cultivate and was more suitable for sneak attacks. Wang Daoyuan could deduce both sides of the 2 water thunder arts. The 9 water divine lightning was specially given to clansmen with exceptional talent to cultivate, while the 12 water divine lightning could be given to clansmen with average talent to cultivate. The most important thing now was to reforge the seal of mountains and rivers. He took out a 9-inch square white jade seal from his storage pouch. The seal was a true dragon. The seal of the great Zhao's emperor was engraved on the bottom of the seal, and the mountains and rivers of the state of Zhao were engraved on the side. He took out another beast skin book, which recorded the refining method of the seal of mountains and rivers. This was the refining method for a Tier 4 magic tool. If he wanted to upgrade it to Tier 5, he would have to deduce it himself. Yuanying entered the space of the spirit orb and began to deduce the refining method. He had quite a number of artifact forging inheritances in his possession, so it did not take much effort to deduce the level 4 artifact forging method to level 5. In less than a year's time, he managed to deduce the refining method for the 5th stage seal of mountains and rivers. Only 4 days had passed in the outside world. Yuanying returned to her body and began to reforge the seal of mountains and rivers. Because the seal of mountains and rivers was made of jade, she could not directly smash it with a hammer. She had to try her best to preserve the results of dozens of generations of nurturing and could not reforge it. Wang Daoyuan erased the original artifact inscriptions and channeled his spirit energy into the interior of the artifact seal, slowly inscribing the artifact inscriptions. After toiling for 5 days, she finally finished refining it. Then she placed it into the weapon refining cauldron and stored it in the space of the spirit orb. 3 days later, more than 200 days had passed in the space of the spirit orb, and the seal of mountains and rivers was completed. Wang Daoyuan took out the seal of mountains and rivers. After injecting his spirit energy, the seal of mountains and rivers exploded with an earth-shattering aura. Benefiting from the spirit vein origin and 10,000 years of refinement, the power of the seal of mountains and rivers was still extremely strong. It should be able to surpass most lower-grade level 5 artifacts. Resisting Yuanying's heavenly tribulation was just a piece of cake. After being nurtured in the weapon refining cauldron for such a long time, the grade of the artifact seal of mountains and rivers had already recovered to lower-grade level 5. Wang Daoyuan sent a message to Zhao Jinghua, telling him that the seal of mountains and rivers had been upgraded to level 5. Half an hour later, he arrived at the Jade Spring Peak from Clear Glass City. Wang Daoyuan took out the seal of mountains and rivers and a beast skin book. The seal of mountains and rivers has been refined. Also, I have deduced the refining method to level 5. In addition, your Zhao clan's blooming water divine lightning has gone astray. When your Zhao clan has a Yuanying cultivator, you will naturally understand. Right now, the Zhao clan's path is unconventional, but its power is not bad. There are no problems. Regardless of whether it was Emperor Zhao or Zhao Jinghua who had successfully formed their nascent souls, they could all see the problem with the blooming water divine lightning. Now that he had pointed it out, it could be considered a favor. Zhao Jinghua was somewhat astonished. After a moment of daze, he received the seal of mountains and rivers and the beast skin book. Many thanks for the advice, retired emperor. The entire Zhao clan will remember it. After repeatedly expressing his thanks, he left the Jade Spring Peak and returned to the capital of Zhao, Longyu City. Wang Daoyuan was not in a hurry to cultivate the blooming water divine lightning. Instead, he continued to raise his cultivation. A year later, news came from Zhao that Zhao Jinghua had successfully formed his nascent soul. Not long after, news came from Song that the Song Emperor, Song Yan, had also successfully formed his nascent soul. In Zhao, Wang Shui personally went to congratulate them. Wang Daoyuan also asked him to bring 10 nascent cultivating pills and 29 death soul returning pills. The appearance of level 5 spirit qi in Beiyuan Xiuxin was too recent. Even the top factions had not been able to cultivate level 5 spirit fields. Even if they still had the seeds to refine the nascent cultivating pills, it would still take 2,000 to 3,000 years to harvest. These pills were also rare treasures for a cultivator who had just entered Yuaning. As for Song, it did not have a good relationship with Yen. Song Yan's Yuaning ceremony did not invite Yen, so there was naturally no need for them to send gifts. After cultivating on the Jade Spring Peak for 7 years, Wang Daoyuan's body shone with a purple-gold light. As time passed, the purple-gold light did not fade. Instead, it became more and more dazzling. Even the underground cave's array formation could not hide this light. At the top of the Jade Spring Peak, the purple-gold light began to appear. In the cave, Wang Daoyuan's Yuanying appeared above his head. The 7-inch tall Yuanying was constantly absorbing spiritual power to strengthen itself. It finally grew to a height of 9.5 inches before stopping. The purple-gold light slowly faded and soon returned to normal. The Yuanying's small face was full of smiles. It could not even open its eyes. It played on the top of his head for a while before disappearing into his body. Wang Daoyuan woke up and sensed his cultivation. It took me more than 30 years and more than 100 nascent cultivating pills. I also extracted a lot of spiritual power from the lava and the space of the spirit pearl. I finally broke through to the late stage of Yuanying. With my current strength, I shouldn't need to use Yinglong's demon-slaying sword to kill the Grand Demon King. Unfortunately, these guys did not show up. After consolidating his cultivation for 2 days, the spirit vein in the space of the spirit pearl had also risen to superior grade level 5. The 5 spiritual fires had absorbed a lot of gifts from heaven and earth. The special energy was replenished, and its grade gradually caught up. The life spiritual fire's seed fire had already broken through to superior grade level 5. The red sun true fire's seed fire was only a step away from superior grade level 5. The other 3 seed fires were also middle grade level 5. The mutant arowana's cultivation had also reached the peak of level 3. Apart from the reverse scale on its throat, the arowana's entire body was as black as ink and emitted a strong yin energy. Its body had grown to more than 3 feet long, and 2 forked dragon horns had grown on its head. Its head was half fish and half dragon. It would probably need to break through to level 4 before its head could completely turn into a dragon. Wang Daoyuan also fed it a lot of jade dragon algae, but its cultivation showed no signs of breaking through. Yun Yi and the soul-chasing Bee King were also at the peak of level 3. They had no intention of breaking through. On the other hand, Blackie's cultivation was on the verge of breaking through. All these years, it had been eating the beast blood-strengthening pills refined from the blood essence of ancient beasts. The effects were still very obvious. When Blackie broke through, it would be a good time for Yun Yi and the others to absorb some gifts from heaven and earth. It was also beneficial for them to break through. Chapter 848. After breaking through to the late stage of Yuanying, if he wanted to break through to the peak stage of Yuanying, not only would he need more resources and spirit energy, he would also need to have a better understanding of the laws. The time required would be much longer than breaking through to the late stage of Yuanying. Cultivating it would not be of much use for the time being. Since he had obtained the 10th Water Divine Thunder, a technique that he had dreamed of in his early years, he naturally had to study it well. Back then, he had cultivated the Earth Divine Lightning to the 4th level. Now that he was cultivating the 10th Water Divine Lightning, he had some foundation. With his late-stage Yuanying cultivation, it was not difficult for him to cultivate a peak stage of the 4th level. In just 5 days, he had cultivated the 10th Water Divine Lightning to the 9th level. He cultivated the 10th Water Divine Lightning. He was not good at facing enemies head-on, but he was good at attacking from behind. He used water spirit energy to condense a spirit energy ball with a diameter of 3 inches. This spirit energy ball was almost colorless and transparent. If he was not prepared in advance, it would be hard to see with the naked eye. In addition, his water spirit energy had the effect of blocking divine sense with the 10th water death flame. If he fought on the sea, he could also hide the 10th water divine lightning underwater. Without special abilities or secret techniques, it would be very difficult to discover this method. He threw the 10th water divine lightning in his hand at a rock with a diameter of 1 foot in the cave. The entire 10th water divine lightning directly penetrated into the rock. In an instant, the rock split into 2 halves, and the inside was shattered into pieces. Wang Daoyuan was very satisfied with this result. The water element was good at penetrating. Whether it was a human or a demon, the weakest part was always the internal organs. This 10th water divine lightning could penetrate into the cracks of the rock. Naturally, it could also penetrate into the bodies of humans and demon beasts. By concentrating all the power on the opponent's weakest point, the lethality would naturally be very strong. Especially when facing an opponent with strong defense, the 10th water divine lightning would be very effective. Then he followed the Zhao family's train of thought and deduced the 9 water divine lightning and cultivated it to the 9th level. This time, he did not dare to use it in the underground cave. Instead, he came to the sky beheading mountain range. He found a relatively spacious area and cast the 9 divine lightning of water on the small hill. After a muffled sound, the top of the hill instantly disappeared. The burst of water spirit energy swept over a radius of 300 miles. If there was a golden core cultivator in this area, they would be seriously injured. Of course, the 9 divine lightning was still a peak 4th tier spell. The power displayed was naturally inferior to genuine 5th tier spells, but it was still quite impressive. From the cultivation method, it could be seen that each of the 5 elements divine lightning had its own characteristics. The first 6 levels should be more or less the same. They only imitated the might of lightning and did not involve the application of laws. The last 3 levels corresponded to the Golden Core realm. Although Golden Core cultivators could not control the laws, they still had to imitate them. The 5 elemental divine lightning was a combination of the 5 elemental laws and the lightning elemental laws. Different elemental laws would naturally produce different lightning techniques. The 9 divine lightning of water pursued explosive and destructive power, while the explosive power of water could only be accumulated by quantity. If he wanted more power, he would have to consume more spiritual energy. The Zhao family's innate talent was still pretty good. Wanting to overcome the natural flaw of the unconventional sword, they created the Blooming Water Thunder Sword. This move. The combination of the thunder technique and the Dao of sword cultivation greatly increased the power. The Wang family did not have the inheritance of combining the thunder technique and the sword cultivation technique. Wang Daoyuan himself did not need this thing, nor did he have the time to deduce this thing. Seeing this blooming water divine lightning, Wang Daoyuan thought of the 5-colored flame bead that appeared at the end of the Yuanying heavenly tribulation. Before it appeared, he could contend with the divine ability tribulation. Once it appeared, all his means were instantly broken through. Wang Daoyuan had always wanted to create this kind of spell, but he never had a clue and did not know how to start. Now that he had cultivated the blooming water divine lightning, Wang Daoyuan suddenly had some ideas. The thunder technique was similar to the power of the heavenly tribulation. If he could find all the 5 elements divine lightning, he could deduce it to the 5th level. Then he could think of a way to fuse the 5 elements divine lightning. Maybe he could reproduce the power of the 5-colored flame bead. First, he could deduce the blooming water divine lightning to the 5th level. The fire divine lightning and earth divine lightning could also be repaired according to his own ideas. As for the metal divine lightning and wood divine lightning, in the 70,000-year history of Beiyuan Xiuxian, there had never been a cultivator who had used this method. The 5 elements divine lightning was deduced by the 5 elements divine monarch using his own divine ability. The 5 elements divine lightning were connected and should be able to cooperate with each other. Even if there was a fragment, using the blooming water divine lightning as a reference, the deduced things would be more or less the same, and the connection between them would still be there. If there was no fragment to point the way and he deduced from nothing, the difference would be huge. The possibility of fusing the 5 elements divine lightning was next to zero. After seeing the power of the blooming water divine lightning and the 9th water divine lightning, Wang Daoyuan came to the easternmost part of Fallen Dragon Ridge. Just as he landed, the thunder ape leaped over. This fellow's cultivation was also stuck at the peak of the 3rd level. After all, it was not a pure horned thunder ape. If it wanted to break through, it would be restricted by the black ape bloodline in its body. It extended a hand to Wang Daoyuan. Naturally, Wang Daoyuan knew what it meant and took out a jar of 100-fruit wine. This 100-fruit wine's wine formula was obtained from the thunder ape's inherited memories. Seeing this thing, the thunder ape's eyes went wide. It hurriedly snatched the wine jar and opened it to drink a few mouthfuls. Its face revealed an intoxicated expression, and it sealed the wine jar again. This was unprecedented. In the past, when the thunder ape obtained wine, it would drink it all in one gulp. Now, it actually stopped after drinking a little. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "No need to be so frugal. You break through to the 4th level as soon as possible and help me comprehend lightning attribute laws. I'll give you more 100-fruit wine." With the thunder ape's current bloodline concentration, breaking through to the 4th level might very likely awaken a lesser divine ability. Lesser divine abilities were the elementary utilization of laws in the first place. One could comprehend lightning laws from it. Rank 5 spells and cultivation methods all needed to be combined with laws. Wanting to deduce the 5 elements divine lightning to the 5th level, one must comprehend lightning attribute laws. Laws were still different from verve and true intent. Verve and true intent were also derived from laws. Just like the Azure Dragon's verve, this was something formed by the fusion of many kinds of laws grasped by the dragon race. It had already undergone a qualitative change and had similarities with laws, but there were also huge differences. Rank 5 spells could have no verve, but they must have laws. Of course, with both, the power was even more powerful. As a penta-spirit root cultivator, Wang Daoyuan had already comprehended the 5 elements laws. Improving the 5 elements divine lightning was easy, but when it involved the 3 attributes, it was more strenuous. Although he fused fire and would attribute spirit chi into lightning attribute spirit chi, it also contained a trace of lightning laws. Under the premise of not having a lightning attribute spirit root, it was not easy to rely on spirit chi to comprehend laws. The original 5 elements divine lightning was only at the peak of the 4th level. Perhaps it was because lightning laws were not easy to comprehend. If there was a lightning attribute Yuanian cultivator or a lightning attribute cultivator with lesser divine abilities, it would be much easier to comprehend lightning laws. Master needed to guard the southern wasteland, and his younger brother was cultivating in seclusion. Moreover, comprehending lightning laws also required a very long time. Who had the time to constantly show him laws? The thunder ape was easier to talk to. As long as there was wine, it would do anything. He had stayed here for more than 2 years, serving the thunder ape with 100-fruit wine every day. This spirit wine was indeed from its inherited memories. It was extremely beneficial to the thunder ape's cultivation. In more than 2 years, it drank more than 300 jugs of 100-year-old 100-fruit wine. This fellow had already fallen into a deep sleep. It seemed like it was about to break through to the 4th level. Wang Daoyuan had been deducing the earth divine lightning and fire divine lightning for more than 2 years. Because repairing the incomplete version might be very different from the original version, it still needed to be constantly corrected. After another half a year, the thunder ape finally woke up. Not long after it woke up, tribulation clouds began to appear in the sky. Wang Daoyuan gave it some healing pills and a low-grade 4th-level defensive Dharma artifact before retreating far away. The tribulation clouds continued to expand and finally expanded to a diameter of about 25 kilometers. The heavenly might also covered 20 kilometers. Soon, a bolt of lightning fell from the heavenly tribulation. The thunder ape's body was also flickering with lightning. It directly endured the tribulation and was actually unharmed. A lightning attribute spirit beast's resistance to heavenly tribulation was really remarkable. The first 6 bolts of tribulation did not affect it much. It only took out a shield to block the 7th bolt of tribulation. After 3 bolts of tribulation, it only lost 2 shields. The Thunder Ape survived the golden core tribulation unscathed. The tribulation clouds in the sky did not dissipate. Instead, they were surging violently. After 15 minutes, a giant ape with golden fur and a single horn on its head descended from the tribulation clouds. It was over 30 meters tall. This was the horned Thunder Ape. The Thunder Ape's bloodline heavenly tribulation had descended. As long as it survived, the horned Thunder Ape's bloodline in its body would improve greatly. It would also awaken the horned Thunder Ape's lesser ability to control lightning. Chapter 849. There were many Wang clansmen cultivating in Fallen Dragon Ridge, and one of them was even a Zifu realm cultivator. His name was Wang Tongyuan, and he was the great-great-grandson of Wang Shouhong. He didn't inherit the great ancestor's talent in alchemy, but he wasn't weak in battle. He was very talented and had 2 spirit veins. His main spirit vein was an 8-inch water spirit vein, and he also cultivated the overturned sea art. He was only 150 years old, but he was already at the middle stage of the Zifu realm. He wasn't far from the late stage. At this rate, there was a high chance that he could reach core formation before he was 200 years old. With such talent, the Wang clan could borrow contribution points and cultivate all the way to the golden core stage. The Thunder Ape's breakthrough caused a huge commotion, so Wang Tongyuan naturally came to take a look. Seeing Wang Daoyuan nearby, he hurried over and bowed. "Greetings, 7th great-grandfather." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand. "No need to be so polite. Core formation won't be a problem for you. Now you can watch the Thunder Ape's tribulation. It'll be helpful in the future. By the way, what's your Zifu anomaly?" Wang Tongyuan cupped his hands. "My Zifu anomaly is the Deep Sea Ink Flood Dragon." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "That's not bad. It's very suitable for you to cultivate our Wang clan's overturned sea art. You can also cultivate some body tempering techniques in the future. You can discuss this with the clan leader." Wang Daoyuan naturally wanted him to learn the true dragon body tempering art. Any cultivator whose Zifu anomaly was a true dragon or a true dragon was suitable for this technique. The two stopped talking and carefully watched the battle between the Thunder Ape and the Giant Ape. The Thunder Ape didn't cower in the slightest in the face of the 30-meter-tall Giant Ape. Its body instantly grew to 30 meter tall, and it was even taller than the horned Thunder Ape. The 2 giant apes didn't use any fancy techniques. They didn't even use any spells. Their bodies were wrapped in blue lightning-type spiritual energy, and they began to fight in close combat. They didn't even bother to dodge, and each of their punches landed squarely on their opponent's body. As a late Yuanian cultivator, Wang Daoyuan's cultivation was much higher than theirs, so he didn't think they were that strong. Wang Tongyuan felt especially shocked, and even a little scared. Wang Daoyuan explained, "The Thunder Ape's bloodline is second only to a divine beast. In a battle of the same level, it doesn't lose to a divine beast." This was his bloodline heavenly tribulation, and its power was even stronger than the minor divine ability tribulations of human cultivators. You don't have a special constitution, so you only need to go through 9 heavenly tribulations to form your gold core. Moreover, you can use a Tier 4 magic tool to block it, and you can pass through it completely unharmed. Wang Tongyuan nodded woodenly and continued to watch the battle between the Thunder Ape and the Giant Ape of heavenly tribulation, hoping to learn something from it. The Thunder Ape quickly fell into a disadvantageous position. It could only passively take a beating, and it was difficult for it to effectively counterattack. 15 minutes later, the Thunder Ape's spiritual energy was almost exhausted and it fell to the ground. The Giant Ape of heavenly tribulation rode on its body and hit it. The Thunder Ape did not give up. It used its physical strength to burn its blood essence to resist. A quarter of an hour later, the tribulation clouds in the sky stopped rolling, and the Giant Ape could no longer replenish its spiritual energy. It no longer fought the Thunder Ape with its fists and legs. Instead, its entire body floated in the air and was wrapped in dazzling electricity. the giant ape turned into a blue ball of light with a diameter of more than 30 meters. Bolts of lightning struck the thunder ape's body from the ball of light. After more than 10 bolts of lightning, the thunder ape fainted. The blue ball of light formed by the giant ape of heavenly tribulation did not give up. It smashed towards the thunder ape. With a loud boom, the ball of light scattered into countless lightning bolts and swam around the thunder ape's body. At this time, the tribulation clouds in the sky had begun to turn golden, and the heavenly might had disappeared. Wang Daoyuan immediately released Yinglong to absorb the remaining electricity on the thunder ape's body. Yinglong still looked down on the power of the heavenly tribulation. It reluctantly flew to the thunder ape's body and absorbed the lightning bolts that were still swimming around. The thunder ape had not drunk the 100-fruit wine for nothing in the past 2 years. Its physical body had been greatly improved. Under the bloodline heavenly tribulation, it still retained a lot of vitality. However, there was not a single strand of white hair left on its body, and a layer of its skin was also burnt. Golden raindrops quickly fell from the sky. The thunder ape was nourished by the gifts of heaven and earth, and its vitality rapidly increased. A quarter of an hour later, the thunder ape woke up with golden hair all over its body. It opened its mouth and said, "Master, let Tongyuan and Yun-Yi also absorb some gifts of heaven and earth." Wang Daoyuan was a little surprised. How can you speak human language when you haven't transformed? He did not stay idle. He directly took out Yun-Yi, Dahei, the dragonfish, and the soul-chasing bees king bee. These guys were also very excited when they saw the gifts of heaven and earth. They ran directly into the area covered by the auspicious clouds. Wang Tongyuan did not need to be told and flew over by himself. The thunder ape said with a smile, "Apes are the most intelligent of the demon clan. I've eaten a lot of demon soul grass before. This demon soul grass can improve the intelligence of demons. It's not surprising that I can speak. My body shape is similar to that of a human, so I can use magic weapons. Now that I can speak, there's no need for me to go through the tribulation." This made Wang Daoyuan overjoyed. He naturally knew that the demon soul grass could improve the intelligence of demons. However, Wang Daoyuan had never expected that the demon race would be able to speak the human language without undergoing the transformation heavenly tribulation. Dahei and Yun-Yi had eaten a lot of demon soul grass. After they broke through to the 4th level, there should be hope for them to speak the human language. After Dahei absorbed the gifts of heaven and earth, its spiritual energy fluctuations became stronger and stronger. The spiritual energy fluctuations of Yun-Yi and the dragonfish also began to change. This was a sign that they were about to break through. An hour later, the gifts of heaven and earth ended. Dahei completely fell into a deep sleep. Yun-Yi, the dragonfish, and the soul-chasing bees king bee also showed signs of breaking through. When Dahei broke through, they could absorb some more gifts of heaven and earth. Wang Daoyuan put Dahei and Yun-Yi into the spiritual pearl and took out a jar of 100-fruit wine. "Thunder ape, I want to comprehend the law of thunder. Now I can only ask for your help. As long as I can comprehend the law of thunder, there will be plenty of 100-fruit wine." The thunder ape took the wine jar and drank a few mouthfuls. "As long as there is wine, you can do whatever you want. Okay, you can attack me with the thunder technique. Show me how much strength you have." The thunder ape did not stand on ceremony. It waved its hand and shot out a bolt of lightning. Wang Daoyuan used his divine sense to trap this bolt of lightning and carefully felt the power and laws in it. Then he let this bolt of lightning hit his body. A low-grade 4th-level magical power could not cause any harm to Wang Daoyuan. He used fire and wood spiritual energy to fuse into thunder spiritual energy and used this spiritual energy to imitate the law of thunder in the thunder ape's technique. The man and the ape would drink some spiritual wine when they were tired. When their spiritual energy recovered, they would continue to fight. After more than a month, Wang Daoyuan mastered the law of thunder. Although using pure thunder attribute techniques would still have the disadvantage of slow speed and insufficient power. However, using the 5 elements divine thunder did not have this problem. The 5 elements divine thunder incorporated a part of the law of thunder into the spells of the 5 elements. It was still mainly based on the law of thunder. After comprehending the law, he left 10 jars of 100-year-old 100-fruit wine to the Thunder Ape and returned to the underground cave of the Jade Spring Peak. Yuanying entered the space of the Spirit Pearl and tried to deduce the 10th water divine thunder to the 5th level. The law of thunder and the law of 5 elements were complete. The rest was not much different from deducing ordinary spells of the 5 elements. It only took a month to deduce the 5th level of the 5 elements divine thunder. He also made some improvements so that there were no obvious flaws. Of course, the spell that had just been deduced definitely had many shortcomings. It still needed to be perfected slowly and gradually improve these shortcomings. He took out the rib bone of a 5th-level demon beast from the space of the Spirit Pearl. The owner of this bone was the Chongdiao. The Chongdiao was also a dignified Chongdiao when he was alive, although he died in an undignified manner. However, for his remains to be the first target of the 5th-level 10th water divine thunder to destroy, it could be considered as helping him to be dignified. Wang Daoyuan condensed a nearly transparent water attribute spiritual energy ball in his hand and inserted it into the rib bone. A dull sound was heard. The surface of the rib bone was not damaged at all. He blew on the rib bone and the bone instantly turned into bone powder. To be able to directly destroy the bones of a low-grade 5th-level ancient beast, not to mention the internal organs, this was definitely a 5th-level technique. Chapter 850. The blooming water divine thunder could be considered as deduced. As for the earth divine thunder and fire divine thunder, there was no rush to deduce them to rank 5 for the time being. It was incomplete in itself. After deducing to rank 4, it still needed to be slowly perfected, making it closer to the original version. Wang Daoyuan wanted to fuse the 5 elements divine thunder into one. If he deduced it himself, it would be too different from the original version. If he wanted to fuse it, it would be impossible. Anyway, he did not lack this method to deal with the enemy. He would postpone this matter for the time being. After deducing, Wang Daoyuan left Jade Spring Peak and rushed to Clear Glass City. Due to the influence of the heavenly/mountain range and the 5 elements essence from before, the spirit chi density of Jade Spring Peak was still rising these few years. Now, it was close to the peak of rank 4. The rising momentum of spirit chi did not have any intention of slowing down. Looking at this situation, breaking through to rank 5 was not a problem. After arriving at Clear Glass City, the increase in spirit chi density here was even more obvious. Now, it had already reached rank 4 middle grade, almost catching up to Green Willow Mystic Realm. Most of the non-water attribute cultivators in the family previously cultivated in Green Willow Mystic Realm. Now, they had all moved to Clear Glass City. After all, in the Mystic Realm, there was no way to directly communicate with the outside world. It might delay things. Now that the grade of Clear Glass City's spirit vein had caught up, it did not delay cultivation. He might as well go into seclusion in Clear Glass City. Clear Glass City was 50 square miles. The space was still very big. Other than the palace city in the center that was 10 square miles, the other places were all residential areas and markets. The clansmen of the Wang family who held higher positions, as well as cultivators who held an official position in the Yen Kingdom's imperial court, all had their own residences in Clear Glass City. Naturally, it was not a problem for him to cultivate here. Wang Daoyuan came to the imperial study in the palace. Wang Mingchen was handling matters here, and Wang Shui was assisting at the side. Seeing him come, Wang Mingchen immediately stood up and bowed. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need to be so polite. I came over for the matter of the blooming water divine thunder." The Zhao family's blooming water divine thunder went astray. They cultivated the blooming water divine thunder that was mainly soft into the 9th water divine thunder that was mainly fierce. Although it was mainly fierce, it also had quite a bit of power. It was just that the requirement for the cultivator's aptitude was extremely high. I deduced both of them. Among them, the blooming water divine lightning was deduced to the 5th level. There's also my cultivation experience inside, so it'll be more convenient for you to cultivate. It's up to the clansmen to decide which one to cultivate. Then he took out 2 thin beast skin books and handed them to Wang Shui. Then he took out 2 jade slips and handed them to Wang Mingchen. These are the first 6 levels of the Fire Divine Lightning. The original Fire Divine Thunder only reached the 6th level. I have deduced up to the 9th level, but it is still not mature enough. You've only just reached the late Zifu stage. Training in the first 6 levels should be enough. Wang Shui held the beast skin book and said with a smile, "The Zhao clan has gone astray. If it can have such a strong power, then the real Gui Water Divine Thunder should be even stronger. With this method, I will at least have the battle prowess of a second-rate golden core cultivator. Right? The framework has been set up in Linhai State. Now that the demonic beasts didn't dare to invade, the number of rogue cultivators in Linhai State gradually increased. Guiyan County and Hades County had already been set up in Shanbei. Guiyan County's jurisdiction was to the north of Huiyan Mountain, to the west of the Skyzhan Mountain Range, and to the south of the desert. It's 10,000 miles from north to south and 50,000 miles from east to west. Mingshan is the county governor. The east of the Nether King County is at the border of the Sky/Mountain Range, and the south is adjacent to the Guiyan County. It's also 50,000 miles from east to west and 30,000 miles from north to south. The county governor is Zhong Jinyang. There are very few clans in the Nether King County, and they mainly manage rogue cultivators. Most of them are evil cultivators. Most of the half-demons have moved to the desert oases to the west and north of the Nether King County. They haven't set up a county yet. North of the Huiyan Mountain Range and west of the Sky/Mountain Range, there's an area that's 3,000 to 7,000 miles from east to west and 90,000 miles from north to south. This is the outer area of the Sky/Mountain Range, and there are many rank 4 spirit veins and all kinds of mines. We've discussed before that we'll set up a county here. However, there are no human forces living here. Where should we set up the county city? Wang Daoyuan pondered for a moment and said, "I've already planned this. Now that there's nothing urgent to deal with, we can go to the north of the mountain to find a place to set up the county city. Other than the Sky/Mountain Range, the north of the mountain is still mainly for rogue cultivators and half-demons. After our Wang clan occupies our current territory, we still have to think of a way to occupy the Purple Gold River and use it as a backup for the clan. I'll find a place with a rank 4 spirit vein near the underground cave that leads to the Purple Gold River Valley and set up the clan's property there. We'll move some clansmen there, and when the time is right, we can move some clansmen to the Purple Gold River Valley without attracting any attention. That's right, I haven't really cared about the outside affairs these few years. How are the Zhao and Song clans? Did something big happen in other places?" Wang Mingchen answered, "The Zhao and Song clans each have a Yuanian cultivator. The Zhao clans are far stronger than Song Yen. However, the Zhao clans are weak and they don't dare to expand. They've been developing the territory that they exchanged with us. There aren't any problems in other places except for the Qi, Chu, and Wu clans. The demonic beasts haven't done anything either. Even during the spirit energy tide at the Hidden Dragon River a few years ago, no demonic beasts went to cause trouble. The Hidden Dragon River was within Wang Daoyuan's expectations. The Heavenly/Mountain Range already had a rank 5 spirit vein, so the Hidden Dragon River wasn't that attractive anymore. Even if a rank 5 mid-grade spirit vein appeared, there was no need to take the risk. Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Since that's the case, there's nothing else for me to care about. I'll head to the north of the mountain now to find a place to set up a new property." After he finished speaking, he left Qingli City and flew towards the northeast. The underground cave that led to the Purple Gold River Valley was directly east of the Mirror Gem Lake Oasis. It was about 10,000 li away from the Huiyan Mountain. Wang Daoyuan entered the cave and released 10,000 soul-chasing bees to investigate the situation in the cave. He wanted to know where the cave extended to and where the spirit veins on the ground were located. After a few days, he finally understood the situation in the underground cave. This cave was connected to the source of the Netherworld King's River. Back then, Wang Daoyuan and a group of demonic beasts were dealing with refined corpses in the ghost cave. In the end, they chased away the refined corpses. In order to prevent the refined corpses from coming back, They dug up the underground water veins and formed the Netherworld King's River. The 7-leaf ghost-faced flower was also obtained from the Ghost Cave. The Ghost Cave also had natural yin veins. Otherwise, the Netherworld King's River wouldn't have such dense yin qi. If he set up a property nearby, he could plant inky jade lotus, 7-leaf ghost-faced flower, yellow spring willow, and other spiritual plants near the Netherworld King's River. The Ghost Cave was about 10,000 li east of the Mirror Gem Lake Oasis. It was less than 1,000 li away from the sky/mountain range's main vein. It was originally a small valley that ran from east to west. Now, it had turned into a small lake that was 10 li long from east to west and 3 li wide from north to south. There were 2 mountain ranges on both sides of the valley. In the small mountain range south of the valley, there was a rank 4 mid-grade spirit vein. The mountain range wasn't high, only 4 to 500 zhang. It stretched for 500 li from east to west and 50 li from north to south. The south of the mountain was lush with vegetation and the soil was very thick. It was very suitable to open up a spiritual farm. Because it was located south of the Ghost Cave, Wang Daoyuan named it South Serene Mountain. Next, he would set up a property on South Serene Mountain. In the future, this place would be an important fulcrum for the Wang clan. In the future, when they entered the Purple Gold River Valley, they would have to use this place as a base. From here, the clan's cultivators could enter the Karst Cave and go all the way to the Purple Gold River Valley. South Serene Mountain was only 20,000 li away from the Jade Spring Peak and 10,000 li away from the 5 Elements Secret Realm. It wouldn't be a problem for flying boats to travel back and forth. If they followed the Netherworld King's River downstream, they would reach the territories of Zhongzhenyang and the other clans in less than 20,000 li. It could be said that South Serene Mountain was a strategic location. After choosing the location, Wang Daoyuan sent a letter to Wang Mingchen, informing him of the situation here and dispatching people over. First, they would set up a defensive formation here. Then, they would open up some spiritual farms and gradually move their clansmen over. In a few decades, they would be able to establish South Serene County with this place as the center. It would be north of Huiyan Mountain and west of the Sky/Mountain Range. Chapter 851. Wang Daoyuan waited here for a few hours before a flying boat arrived. The dragonfish flag of the Wang family was still hanging at the bow of the boat. The flying boat landed on a flat area on the south slope of South Serene Mountain. More than 20 cultivators walked down from the flying boat. The person at the front was Wang Shouja. To build a foundation here, formations naturally had to be set up for protection. Wang Shouja raised his hands and said, "Grand Emperor, this time I have brought 5 rank 3 formation masters, 5 rank 3 forgers, and more than 10 ling plant farmers. Grand Emperor, please tell us where to start." Wang Daoyuan pointed at the mountain range under his feet. This mountain is called South Serene Mountain. North of the mountain is the source of Nether King River. The yin energy in the water is dense and can be used to plant inky jade serene lotus, yao soul grass, and other ling plants. I have already scattered a lot of seeds by the lake. When the ling plants germinate, you just have to look after them. Our family's business will be built south of South Serene Mountain. The soil here is thick and it is more convenient to open up ling fields. I have not stayed here for long and do not know this place well. What formations to set up and how to open up the ling fields, you can decide. Everyone raised their hands in acknowledgement. Wang Daoyuan transmitted to Wang Shouja, "There is an underground cave below. Build a secret room that connects to the underground cave. Use formations to protect it. This matter must be kept secret and cannot be easily known by others." Only Wang Daoyuan, the Jindan of the family, Wang Mingchen, and Zhou Luan knew about the Purple Gold River. Wang Shouja might be the grand elder of the family, but his status was not high enough so he had not been told. Then he called Hui Peng over. "Hui Peng will watch over this place for now. I still have to do something." Finishing, he used the concealment devil art to hide his figure and flew east. After flying 100 li, he entered the underground cave. His goal was the Purple Gold River Valley. Now that the ling vein had recovered to rank 5, the sleeping Yao beast had awakened. He also wanted to see if the Purple Gold River Valley was occupied by rank 5 Yao beasts and if he could still develop here. Doppelganger Zheng Ping had been cultivating in the underground Yin Spring of the Purple Gold River branch. Now, he was already a rank 4 low-class corpse. He used to be a living corpse when he was alive, so his essence, qi, and spirit could completely fuse into his corpse. This kind of refined corpse had an extremely high growth limit, not inferior to those refined corpses that had special constitutions when they were alive. Zheng Ping's panoramic perception clone found out that the Purple Gold River branch's spirit vein was already a level 5 low-grade spirit vein. Even the Yin Spring he was in had already become a 5th stage spirit spring. Zheng Ping's foundation was excellent, and he also had the nourishment of a level 5 spirit spring. If it wasn't for the fact that Wang Daoyuan didn't have the time to deal with him, it wouldn't have been a problem for him to transform into a metal elite zombie. Wang Daoyuan had walked through this underground cave many times, so he was quite familiar with it. It didn't take long for him to arrive at the Zijin River Valley. Compared to the last time he was here, the clouds here were thicker. However, Wang Daoyuan's cultivation had also improved tremendously. Coupled with the heaven-prying eye, he could clearly see the situation within 200 miles. The Zijin River Valley was within the heavenly/mountain range, so there was no need to talk about the concentration of spirit qi. The entire valley was filled with level 5 low-grade spirit qi. Wang Daoyuan came to the Zijin River branch. The last time he was here, he broke the defensive formation here and repaired it before he left. Now, the formation here was still intact. It seemed that those level 5 demonic beasts shouldn't have come here. Since it was intact, there was no need for him to stay here for long. He left behind some inky jade lotus, demon soul grass, 7-leaf ghost face flower seeds, and a few yellow spring willow branches for Zheng Ping. A level 5 Yin Spring was the most suitable place to plant these things. Then he left the Zijin River branch and followed the Zijin River all the way downstream. At the branch, the Zijin River Valley was already more than 10,000 miles wide. As he continued to head east, it became wider and wider. Of course, the fog also became thicker and thicker. After flying east for more than 50,000 miles, he reached the mouth of the Zijin River. If he continued east, it should be the Mirage Fog Sea. The fog here was so thick that even if he used the heaven-prying secret technique, he still couldn't see the situation 100 miles away. The width of the heaven/mountain range was only more than 10,000 miles. The mouth of the river was already out of the range of the heaven/mountain range, and there were no mountain ranges on the north and south sides. This should be a plain deposited by the Zijin River, and there were no traces of human activity near the mouth of the river. On the way here, there were occasionally ruins left behind from ancient times. Of course, there were many places with spirit veins, half-demon tribes, and human itinerant cultivators. Wang Daoyuan didn't alert them previously. Previously, he guessed that there were level 5 demonic beasts hiding in the Mirage Fog Sea. Now that his divine sense was severely limited, he didn't dare to enter the Mirage Fog Sea rashly, so he turned around and headed west. The fog here was so thick that low-level cultivators were like headless flies. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be many humans and half-demons willing to live here. However, there were quite a number of people and half-demons here. Wang Daoyuan had encountered quite a number of itinerant cultivators and half-demons. After flying west for more than 20,000 miles, he met 5 late-stage Foundation establishment half-demons who were besieging a late-stage Foundation establishment human cultivator. The leader of the half-demons shouted, "Don't let this human escape." The half-demon's accent was no different from the humans to the west of the heaven/mountain range. If he wanted to understand the situation in the Zijin River Valley, he couldn't rely on himself to explore it. It was a good opportunity to get some information from this human. Wang Daoyuan suppressed his cultivation to the peak of the Foundation establishment realm and took out a low-grade level 3 magic longsword from the trash in the spiritual pearl. He revealed himself and killed one of the half-demons. He shouted, "Who are you? How dare you bully a human cultivator?" A cultivator with an ominous glint in his eyes and extremely long canine teeth in his mouth rebuked angrily, How dare you attack the people of my Silver Wolf tribe? Before he finished speaking, he attacked Wang Daoyuan with his long sword. Wang Daoyuan swung his sword and sliced the half-demon sword in half. Exerting force with his feet, he appeared in front of the half-demon and killed it with a single slash. The remaining half-demons wanted to escape, but the human cultivator quickly transmitted, "Daoyu, don't let them escape." The Silver Wolf tribe has 5 Zifu realm cultivators and one of them is at the peak of the Zifu realm. If we let them escape, we won't have a place to stay for thousands of kilometers. The valley is filled with smoke and it'll be difficult to find another place to stay. He then chased after one of the half-demons. Wang Daoyuan also attacked the half-demons. In just a dozen breaths of time, they killed all of the half-demons. The two of them collected their spoils of war and threw the corpses into a nearby river. The human cultivator cupped his hands and said, "Junior Zhou Ting, thanks Senior for saving my life." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "We're all Foundation establishment cultivators and our cultivations are similar. There's no need to be so polite. I'm Wu Chuan and I've just arrived here from somewhere else. I don't have a place to stay yet. May I ask Daoyu if there's a place to stay nearby?" Zhou Ting laughed. "Fellow Daoist, you've asked the right person. 1,000 or so kilometers south of here, there's a human late-stage Zifu disciple leading a marketplace that is jointly established by multiple Zifu disciples. This is one of the few human factions in the entire Zijin River Valley. If Daoyu is interested, you can also stay in the city. Given Daoyu's abilities, you'll definitely have a place in the city in the future." Wang Daoyuan's interest was piqued. As long as he could find the city, he would naturally be able to find the information he wanted. He hurriedly nodded and said, "If there's a safe place like this, I'm naturally willing to go. Please lead the way, Dao." The two of them left this place and headed south. After flying 1,000 kilometers, they arrived at a small mountain range that was fairly tall. Under Zhou Ting's lead, Wang Daoyuan made many turns and arrived at a small valley. Zhou Ting took out a command medallion and a screen of light suddenly appeared in front of him. Wang Daoyuan was somewhat surprised. The level of this illusory formation wasn't low. He didn't expect the Zijin River to have such a brilliant technique. The two of them walked into the screen of light. In front of them was a wooden archway with the words, "Hidden Dragon City," written on it. Chapter 852. This hidden flood dragon market wasn't spacious at all. There was only a valley that was less than half a kilometer wide. The buildings and shops on both sides were all carved out of the cliff. Zhou Ting explained as he walked, "There are very few rules in this hidden flood dragon market. As long as you don't fight or force people to buy or sell, everything else is up to you. If you want to open a shop, you don't need to discuss it with anyone or buy a shop. This hidden flood dragon valley is very long and there aren't many shops. You can just find a random place to open a shop. If you're too lazy to carve out a cliff, you can just set up a stall. As long as you don't destroy the formation, no one will bother you." With Daoyu's cultivation, he can be ranked in the top 10 of the hidden flood dragon market. His battle prowess should be second only to the Zifu realm seniors. "Why don't you join the market guard like me? You might have a chance to break through to the Zifu realm in the future." His meaning was obvious. If Wang Daoyuan became a member of the market guard, he would naturally benefit as well. Unfortunately, Wang Daoyuan came here to learn more about the Violet Gold River Valley. Naturally, he wouldn't stay here for long. He had also investigated many places in the Violet Gold River Valley. What he was most curious about wasn't the strange fog, but the fact that he didn't find any traces of golden core cultivators. Both humans and half-demons were only at the Zifu realm. As for demonic beasts, there weren't even rank 3 demonic beasts here, let alone rank 4 demonic beasts. He asked Zhou Ting, "There's something I don't understand. I'd like to ask Daoyu to explain it to me. I've been traveling in the Violet Gold River Valley for many years, but I've never seen a golden core cultivator or a rank 4 demonic beast. Why is that?" Zhou Ting shook his head. How would us Foundation establishment cultivators know anything about golden core cultivators? Why don't I take Daoyu to see those seniors in the market guard? They're all Zifu realm cultivators and should know more than me. especially that late-stage Zifu realm cultivator. His cultivation is close to the golden core stage, so he naturally knows more. I heard that this late-stage Zifu realm cultivator had escaped from a half-demon tribe. These half-demon tribes like to raise human cultivators to help them refine magic tools, pills, and other items. These humans are like livestock. If the half-demons aren't happy, they'll kill them. This senior grew up in a half-demon tribe and might know a lot of secrets. As soon as he said that, Wang Daoyuan became interested. Dao, please lead the way. I wish to pay a visit to this late-stage Zifu disciple. He followed behind Zhou Ting, walking all the way to the deepest part of Hidden Dragon Valley. The further in they went, the fewer shops and caves there were on both sides of the valley. After going more than 10 miles deep, there were no more caves or shops. The two of them walked for more than 20 miles, and there were 6 caves here. Zhou Ting said, "This is the abode of the 6 Zifu disciples of the hidden WRM market. My level of cultivation is low, and I have no choice but to come here. I'd better leave first, lest the seniors blame me." Wang Daoyuan didn't stop him. Even if there were hidden dragons and crouching tigers in this city square, in his hands, they were just clay chickens and pottery dogs. After Zhou Ting walked far away, Wang Daoyuan relaxed the suppression of his cultivation and released the spirit energy fluctuations of a late-stage Violet Palace realm cultivator. Immediately, 2 Zifu disciples walked out of their caves. One of them had white hair and a white beard, and was a late-stage Zifu disciple. The other was a muscular man, and was a middle-stage Zifu disciple. Upon seeing Wang Daoyuan, the two clasped their hands and said, "Dare I ask why Daoyu has come here?" Wang Daoyuan laughed. "I was traveling here and accidentally entered this city square. I have some questions that I wish to ask Daoyu." The white-haired cultivator replied, "The other cultivators have gone out on business. Only the 2 of us are here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If we can help, we won't hide anything." Wang Daoyuan asked, "I'm about to break through to the Jindan stage as well. Only, why are there no Jindan cultivators or 4th-rank monsters in the Violet Gold River Valley?" The white-haired cultivator was somewhat puzzled. "This isn't much of a secret to us Zifu disciples. How come Daoyu doesn't know? Could it be that Daoyu is a cultivator from the outside?" Seeing that he had been exposed, Wang Daoyuan didn't hide it anymore. "I'm indeed a cultivator from the outside. A few decades ago, I was forced into the Mirage Fog Sea by a monster. By chance, I came to the Violet Gold River Valley. The strongest cultivators in the half-demon tribes were only at the Zifu disciple level. Now that I've finally encountered a human force, the strongest cultivator I've encountered is only at the late-stage Zifu disciple level. Logically speaking, the spiritual energy in the Violet Gold River Valley is so dense that there should be Jindan cultivators here." The muscular cultivator had a look of admiration on his face. "It seems that Daoyu is quite powerful. You were actually able to escape from the Mirage Fog Sea. He wasn't born in the Violet Gold River Valley and didn't join any forces. It's natural that he doesn't know about this. Legend has it that the Violet Gold River Valley was the territory of a great immortal sect in the ancient times. There were all kinds of methods left underground. Regardless of whether it was a human, a monster, or a half-demon, as long as they dared to undergo their heavenly tribulation here, the power of their tribulation would be greatly increased. There was once a half-demon who used several high-grade level 4 magic tools to resist his core formation heavenly tribulation. In the end, he was still struck to death by the heavenly tribulation and all his magic tools were destroyed. If a Jindan cultivator and above were to cultivate here, it would be very easy for them to go berserk. The Zifu disciple would either have to take the risk and leave here or wait for their lifespan to run out. The monsters and cultivators outside are also unwilling to come here. Therefore, there are no Jindan cultivators or 4th-grade monsters here. As for the monsters, without the protection of high-grade monsters, how could they fight against us humans and half-demons? They were all killed long ago." The white-haired cultivator nodded. "Li Daoyu's words are the same as what I know." Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was a bit surprised. The Violet Gold River Valley was even larger than the Linhai State. In such a large place, the methods left behind were definitely not ordinary. If the power of the heavenly tribulation was greatly increased and cultivators could easily go berserk, then it could be a problem with the laws. However, he didn't feel this. In the past, he had cultivated in the Violet Gold River branch for a few years and didn't feel anything strange. When he cultivated, he first used the spirit fire to refine the spirit chi and then merged it into his body. Maybe it was dissolved by the spirit fire. Only the Myriad Beasts Valley would be able to leave behind such a powerful trump card. According to Long Yun Tian, the mountain north of the Valley of Beasts should be in the Mirage Fog Sea. Then this place could be considered the backyard of the Valley of Beasts. Wang Daoyuan never had the habit of seeking death unless the benefits were great. Therefore, there was no need to investigate what the Valley of Beasts had left behind. The fact that the Violet Gold River Valley couldn't allow Jindan cultivators and 4th-grade monsters to cultivate was a good thing for the Wang family. Both sides didn't have any Jindan cultivators. Zheng Ping's 4th-grade refined corpse was basically invincible. In addition to the flying warship and other things, half-demons weren't worth mentioning. When the Serene South Mountain developed, they could secretly transfer people here. In addition, they had the Violet Gold River branch as a foothold and the Wang family behind them. They didn't need any Jindan cultivators to attack. They only needed to develop for a few hundred years and they could completely wipe out the Violet Gold River. However, the Valley of Beasts treated this place as their backyard. There were also cultivators from the Violet Gold River branch stationed here. It couldn't be that they couldn't allow Jindan cultivators and above to cultivate. This method of restriction should have been activated after the Violet Gold River branch was attacked. If it could be activated, it might be able to be closed. When the Wang family completely wiped out the Violet Gold River and didn't take the demons seriously, they could close this restriction. If they couldn't close it, they could destroy it. At that time, the Violet Gold River would really become the Wang family's backup. After knowing this important news, Wang Daoyuan didn't need to continue staying here. Thank you, Daoyu, for telling me. Since I can't break through to the Jindan stage in the Violet Gold River, I will prepare to enter the Mirage Fog Sea again. Goodbye. The two wanted to ask him to stay, but seeing that he didn't have any intention to stay, they didn't say anything. After speaking, he left the Hidden Dragon Market and concealed himself as he headed west. He wasn't in a hurry to investigate the Valley of Beasts. He could wait until the time was right. He headed west and returned to the west of the Sky/Mountain Range. Chapter 853. Returning to the west of Sky/Mountain Range through the Karst Cave, in this month, South Serene Mountain had been doing very well. More than a dozen ling plant farmers had opened up dozens of mu of ling fields and planted the seeds of ling grains. These ling grains were all rank 1. The ling fields had just been opened and without ling spring water, the grade was relatively low. The water-in energy in Nether King River was too heavy and could not be used to water normal ling fields. There were also ling plant farmers using the sweet rain art to send down rainwater with ling energy to nourish the ling fields. Seeing this situation, Wang Daoyuan felt he had been careless and should have dug a ling spring. There was a large underground water vein under the ghost cave, and the water vein was separated from the yin vein. When the water vein was dug, it was to wash away the yin energy of the ghost cave and prevent the refined corpses from taking over this place again. Now, he could draw out some water from the underground water vein. The ling power in the water vein below was not low. Back then, it had been a rank 4 low-grade ling vein. Now, it would be even higher. Wang Daoyuan landed on South Serene Mountain, and the clansmen hurriedly bowed. At this time, Wang Shouja also ran over and was about to bow when Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need to be polite. I saw that it was too hard for the clansmen to open up the ling fields, and there are water veins below, so I want to open a ling spring here. The water veins below have a large amount of water, so the water in the spring may also be large. I don't know how you plan the buildings and formations, but where do you think is suitable to open a ling spring?" Wang Shouja thought for a moment and then pointed at a relatively low-lying place halfway up the mountain. "Let's go there. I was planning to set up a water attribute formation there." If it can attract a Ling spring, then it would be perfect. Wang Daoyuan nodded and flew halfway up the mountain. He drew out a wisp of returning dust flame and put it on the low-lying area to burn the rock strata. At the same time, he took out a compass to determine the exact location of the underground water vein. At the same time, he had to avoid the Yin vein and the karst cave. Otherwise, if the water poured into the karst cave, not only would it not attract spring water, it would affect the clansmen migrating to Purple Gold River in the future. To avoid the karst cave, he did not dig a hole straight up and down. Instead, he went around to the west, away from the karst cave and Yin vein. This detour required him to dig a hole tens of thousands of zhang long. Now that the dust-returning flame in his body was already a level 5 high-grade spirit fire, it was not difficult to burn the rock stratum. In just half a day, they had already dug to a height of over 100 feet above the water vein. Wang Daoyuan put away the returning dust flame and used his escape technique to arrive at the mountainside. Then he used the blooming water divine thunder and struck it into the cave. Controlling the blooming water divine thunder with his spiritual sense, he came to the deepest part of the cave. The blooming water divine thunder exploded. The enormous power turned the remaining 30 meters of rock into dust. After a few dozen breaths of time, a 5-foot-tall water column gushed out from the mountainside. This water column produced more than 2,000 pounds of water in a single breath. Wang Daoyuan asked, "Uncle, where should the water flow?" Wang Shouzhe pointed to a large piece of flat land at the foot of the mountain and said, "This large piece of flat land is going to be developed into a spiritual field. After circling around here, it will converge into the Pluto River in the northwest." Wang Daoyuan took out the Guiyuan sword, a silver light flashed, and a 6 feet wide and 5 feet deep canal appeared. The canal extended from the spring halfway up the mountain to the flat land at the foot of the mountain in the south. It extended west to the western end of the serene South Mountain, and then turned north to flow into the Pluto River. After finishing this, Wang Daoyuan breathed a sigh of relief and planned to return to the Jade Spring Peak. At this time, Dahe in the space of the spiritual pearl woke up, and its spiritual power fluctuated violently. It had been sleeping for a long time, and now it should be about to break through. It happened that the serene South Mountain had a level 4 spiritual vein with no attribute, so there was no problem for it to break through here. He took Dahe out and put it on the mountainside. "Uncle, stop what you are doing and hide 100 miles away. If Dahe wants to break through to the 4th level, it will cross the tribulation here." Everyone was not surprised but happy. If they caught up with Dahe's tribulation, they could also get some benefits. They retreated 100 miles away, and Wang Daoyuan left a bottle of level 4 healing elixir and also retreated. The spiritual power fluctuation on Dahe's body became stronger and stronger, and it constantly opened its mouth to swallow the surrounding spiritual power. Soon, Dahe's spiritual power reached the 4th level. The tribulation clouds began to appear. A quarter of an hour later, the tribulation clouds expanded to 60 miles in diameter, and the power of heaven covered 30 miles. Dahe could not use magic weapons, so it could only rely on its body to resist. However, Dahe did not take the beating passively. When the first thunder tribulation fell, Dahe opened its mouth and directly swallowed the thunder tribulation into its stomach. After swallowing this thunder tribulation, not only was it not injured, but its aura was also increasing. Wang Daoyuan could not help but sigh. It deserves to be the descendant of the Archean exotic beast, Heavenly Dog. It even dares to swallow the tribulation. The next 8 thunder tribulations were also swallowed by Dahe. It was not until the 7th thunder tribulation that it caused some damage. The 8th and 9th thunder tribulations were stronger, and Dahe was more seriously injured. After the 9th thunder tribulation, Dahe swallowed all the healing elixirs given by Wang Daoyuan. It also refined the elixirs very quickly. After swallowing them, the elixirs began to work, and Dahe's injuries were quickly healed. The tribulation clouds in the sky were still rolling. After a quarter of an hour, Dahe's injuries were almost healed. A huge black dog's mouth stretched out of the tribulation clouds, and it opened its mouth to suck in the place where Dahe was. The spiritual power in Dahe's body was unstable, and the surrounding spiritual power was sucked away by the huge dog's mouth. Not to be outdone, it opened its mouth to swallow the tribulation clouds. Although Dahei's body was much smaller, the power of its small magic was really not weak. Although it was not as good as the dog's mouth in the sky, it could still swallow a lot of spiritual power. A huge spiritual power vortex with a diameter of more than 150 kilometers appeared on Mount Serene. A huge amount of spiritual power was absorbed by Dahei and the black dog. The two sides were in a stalemate for a quarter of an hour. The black dog did not intend to be in a stalemate any longer. It spat out a large amount of spiritual power, trying to stuff Dahei to death. Dahei was not to be outdone. It opened its mouth and spat out a purple thunderbolt. This thunderbolt also contained the power of the tribulation. It was the thunder tribulation that Dahei had swallowed before. Dahei's devouring talent was really powerful. After swallowing the attack, it could even counter it. A huge black dog more than 300 meters long jumped out of the tribulation clouds and directly threw Dahei to the ground. Dahei's body also grew rapidly, biting the black dog. Unfortunately, it was still not strong enough. Soon, it was bitten black and blue all over. However, the black dog could not hold on any longer. Soon, it slowly dissipated. Dahei was seriously injured, but it did not pass out. It opened its mouth to absorb the remaining power of the tribulation and a huge amount of spiritual power into its body. The tribulation clouds in the sky began to turn golden. A quarter of an hour later, golden raindrops fell from the golden clouds. Dahei was not seriously injured. It was mainly a flesh wound. Under the nourishment of the gift of heaven and earth, it completely recovered in just 100 seconds. Wang Daoyuan asked all the people on Mount Serene to absorb the gift of heaven and earth. He also sent Yun Yi, the arowana, and the soul-chasing Bee King over. An hour later, the gift of heaven and earth ended. Yun Yi, the arowana, and the queen bee had all fallen into a deep sleep. It seemed that a breakthrough was imminent. Dahei directly spoke in human language, "You all disperse. I'm going to go through a transformation tribulation." It seemed that the demon soul grass that Dahei ate in the space of the spiritual pearl worked. It could speak directly before it transformed. More than 20 people dispersed. Wang Daoyuan also put Yun Yi and the other two into the space of the spiritual pearl. Soon, tribulation clouds condensed in the sky again. However, this tribulation cloud was very small, only about 300 meters in diameter. There were 3 transfiguration heavenly tribulations, which corresponded to the essence, chi, and spirit. After withstanding 3 transfiguration heavenly tribulations, the essence, chi, and spirit would be closer to that of human beings, and they would be able to transform into human beings. Dahei swallowed all 3 transfiguration heavenly tribulations and then slowly transformed. A day later, Dahei's body began to change. Its black skin turned into a black leather robe, its 4 claws turned into human hands and feet, and its head turned into the shape of a human. In the end, Dahei turned into a strong man who was 9 feet tall and had an angular face. This appearance was very familiar to Wang Daoyuan. After thinking for a long time, he remembered that it was his elder brother Wang Meng when he was young. Chapter 854. Dahei flew to the edge of the water, looked at himself in the mirror, and felt very satisfied. Wang Daoyuan asked, "Why did you transform into my elder brother?" Dahei sighed and said, "When the old master passed away, my intelligence was too low to remember his appearance, but I still have some impression of the eldest young master's appearance. Your appearance is more like the eldest young master's. When I see you often, I can think of the eldest young master's appearance. It's not convenient to look like you, so I transformed into the eldest young master's appearance to commemorate him." Wang Daoyuan nodded and said, "You swallowed so many heavenly tribulations. Will there be any problem?" "Don't worry, second young master. Since my cultivation was promoted to the 3rd stage, a small space appeared in my stomach. With the improvement of my cultivation, this space is getting bigger and stronger. The things swallowed into this space will be quickly refined and integrated into the body to improve my cultivation. After reaching the fourth step, this space of mine is already very stable, and I can even divide space into many separate parts. You can hide the things you swallow, refine them, or save them before spitting them out. Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was a little surprised. Wasn't this giving others a taste of their own medicine? In a fight, it was equivalent to the opponent consuming twice as much energy, and he only consumed the power of his divine sense to perform small magical skills. According to his previous performance of swallowing heavenly tribulations, he could swallow the attacks of the early stage of the Gold Core realm without being injured. He could also swallow the attacks of the middle stage of the Gold Core realm. Now that he had absorbed a lot of gifts from heaven and earth, he should be stronger. In ancient times, the heavenly dog could swallow the sun and the moon. The sun was transformed by the golden crow, and the strength of the golden crow was only slightly weaker than that of the 5 elements divine beasts. Since the heavenly dog could swallow it, its strength should also be at the same level. Therefore, the upper limit of Dahei's growth was still extremely high. Unfortunately, there was no special spiritual qi in Beiyuan Xiuxian now, so it would be very difficult for him to break through to a higher realm in the future. Wang Daoyuan still had a lot of blood essence and demon cores of ancient strange beasts left, which could help him break through to the 5th stage. As for higher cultivation, he could only go to the end of the West Sea in the future. Wang Daoyuan asked again, "You are so talented. Do you still remember who your parents are?" Dahei shook its head and said, "The only thing I can vaguely remember is that I almost starved to death when I was young and was taken in by my master. Master lost his father when he was young and was all alone. He grew up eating from hundreds of families, but he was still willing to support me. After I grew up, I helped my master hunt, and my life got a little better. Master is also married, and there are you 3 brothers. After living in Qingxi village for more than 100 years, he really wanted to go back and take a look. With your strength, you don't need me to guard you. I'll go to Jade Spring Peak first and take a look at Master's grave." He would return to Qingxi village and take a look at the old house. "I still need to go to Fallen Dragon Ridge to see my descendants." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Since you've already transformed, you should have a name. Spirit beasts follow their master's surname. I see that your mouth is quite long in your original form. The long-billed dog surname is Hua, so I'll call you Wang Hua. Don't tell anyone about the space." She then transmitted a message to him. Dahei said with a smile, "Thank you, second young master. Wang Ku will leave now." After that, he rode a cloud to the southwest. Wang Daoyuan originally wanted to return to Jade Spring Peak after Wang Hua transcended the tribulation. Now that Yun Yi and the others had fallen into a deep sleep, it was only a matter of time before they broke through. Yun Yi and the dragonfish both liked yin qi and water, so it was very suitable for them to break through near the source of the Nether King River. Wang Daoyuan opened up a cave abode on a nameless hill north of Mount Serene. He set up an array to isolate himself from detection and temporarily lived here. After breaking through to the late stage of yuanying, cultivation did not have much effect. There was a large area of land in the Yen Kingdom, and many people were needed to manage it. The Wang family could not provide too many people at all, so the demand for puppets was even greater. Wang Daoyuan had the puppet technique, but he had not spent much effort refining it before. Now it was time to spend some effort to improve the level of refining puppets. He was refining the puppets in this new cave abode. Previously, on the Demon Islands, after his cultivation broke through to the middle stage of yuanying, he refined a puppet that harvested spirit grains there. That puppet was only a low-grade Tier 1 puppet, which was too simple. Wang Daoyuan planned to refine a low-grade Tier 2 puppet that could cast the Sweet Rain spell. The Sweet Rain spell was an extremely important spell to maintain the spirit fields. There was a lot of spiritual power in the rain that fell. This spiritual power could be integrated into the spirit fields to prevent them from degenerating. Where there was a spirit spring, it could be watered with spirit spring water, and the effect was better than the Sweet Rain spell. Take the Jade Spring Peak for example, many Tier 4 spirit fields had been developed. However, the family had such a large territory, and not every place had a spirit spring and river. Most of the spirit veins still relied on spells like the Sweet Rain spell to maintain the grade of the spirit fields. A puppet that only cast one spell was not difficult to refine. He only needed to teach the puppet's soul to determine which spirit fields needed the Sweet Rain spell and the method to cast it. A Tier 2 puppet was not difficult for a Tier 5 blacksmith. It only took him a day to refine it. He only used 2 days to nurture the puppet's soul. Wang Daoyuan installed a low-grade Tier 4 spirit gathering bead on the puppet and put it on South Serene Mountain. At this time, the descendants of the Ling plant farmers in the clan were watering the Ling fields. The puppet inspected the surroundings of the Ling fields and found a Ling field that was slightly further away from South Serene Mountain and started to cast the Sweet Rain spell. It was still unfamiliar with it, and its casting speed was rather slow. It used a dozen breaths to cast the Sweet Rain spell. Suddenly, a dark cloud 20 zhang in diameter appeared in the sky. Dense spirit energy rain fell from the cloud and poured onto the Ling fields. This Ling field did not have enough Ling power to begin with, but after the Sweet Rain spell, the Ling power in the soil increased greatly. There was a special soul inside the puppet, and it could become skilled through practice. It was fine as long as it could cast it successfully. After practicing for a while, it would become proficient. The Ling plant farmers that were watering the Ling fields had excited expressions when they saw this. One of the late-stage Foundation Establishment Realm Ling plant farmers said excitedly, "The most exhausting thing for a Ling plant farmer is to take care of the Ling fields. Now that we have this, the most troublesome matter is saved. Before, I could take care of 30 mu of Tier 2 Ling fields. Now, it is not a problem to take care of 300 mu." Wang Daoyuan sent a message to Zhao Liang for him to bring some of the talented forgers and formation masters of the clan. It would be best if they had experience in making flying boats. Since the puppet was a combination of forgery and formation, and some nomological inscriptions, it was similar to making flying boats. He also told him to bring the 12th uncle's dragonfish. That blue dragonfish had been stuck at the peak of Tier 3 for a long time. It definitely had enough accumulation, but it just lacked an opportunity to break through. Yao beasts with high-level bloodlines needed to further awaken their bloodline to break through a major realm. This depended on luck. Without luck, they could only rely on accumulation over time. They were not like humans, who could break through once they had enough comprehension in their realm. This was a great advantage that humans had over Yao. Talented humans could break through major realms much faster than Shin beasts. That dragonfish was not very willing, so Wang Daoyuan controlled the gray rock avatar to grab it out of the jade dragon spring. Then the gray rock carried Zhao Liang and the others to South Serene Mountain. Wang Shouzhe and the other formation masters also came to Wang Daoyuan's dwelling to learn puppet arts. Wang Daoyuan took out the first puppet, the one that he had made in the 10,000 Mo Islands to harvest Ling grains. He took it apart into a pile of components and explained the components bit by bit. If there were areas of confusion, Wang Daoyuan would explain in detail. These formation masters and forgers were all heavily nurtured by the clan, and they all had experience in making flying boats. Formation patterns and tool patterns could not stump them. Only the nomological inscriptions could stump them. Wang Daoyuan couldn't understand this either, so he could only let them imitate it. Chapter 855. These people were all disciples that the family had focused on nurturing, so their talent was naturally outstanding. With Wang Daoyuan's personal guidance, they quickly grasped the refining method of first-rank puppets. Half a month later, these people had all refined low-grade first-rank puppets under Wang Daoyuan's guidance. Their artifact refinement and array formation attainments were at least at the 3rd rank. Under Wang Daoyuan's guidance, it only took them more than a month to refine 2nd-rank puppets that could use the Sweet Rain technique. At this moment, Yun Yi, the dragonfish, and the queen bee in the spirit pearl space were all unstable. Although they had not woken up yet, it was only a matter of time. Wang Daoyuan flew out of the cave abode and placed the 3 of them by the Nether King River, keeping a distance of 25 kilometers between them. This was to prevent them from interfering with each other when they began to transcend the tribulation at the same time. At this moment, a sword light flew over from the southwest. The sword light landed in front of Wang Daoyuan. It was Wang Dezhao. He cupped his hands at Wang Daoyuan. "Seventh uncle, I can already use my spirit power to imitate the law of fire and can transcend the tribulation. I heard that Yun Yi and the others were going to transcend the tribulation here, so I wanted to come here and get some glory. Coincidentally, I'm also a refiner and want to learn how to refine puppets." Wang Daoyuan had always thought highly of Wang Dezhao. After all, he was ninth uncle's great-great-grandson and fourth brother Wang Daoqing's grandson. Furthermore, he was quite talented. Whether it was cultivation, alchemy, or refining, he was a good seedling. He was also quite intelligent and was a material that could hold his own. There were not many such disciples in the Wang family. It just so happens that Yun Yi, the soul-chasing queen bee, and the dragonfish I raised are all about to break through. You can absorb more of the gifts of heaven and earth to strengthen your potential. As for the puppets, we'll talk about them after the tribulation. After waiting for a long time, Yun Yi was the first to wake up. At this moment, the spirit power fluctuations on her body were already very strong, and she could break through at any time. Humans could control themselves and only break through when they wanted to. Demons were unable to control their own cultivation. Once they had accumulated enough, they would automatically break through. Now that he had accumulated enough spiritual energy and had absorbed many blessings from the world, the dark soul-devouring tiger's bloodline had reached the point where it could break through. Now it could no longer suppress it. Wang Daoyuan gave it a bottle of healing pills and told it to take it when it was injured. Yun Yi was usually lazy. It was really a little hard to believe that she could successfully transcend the tribulation. The spiritual energy in its body increased rapidly, and soon it reached the level of the fourth stage lower grade. Tribulation clouds began to appear in the sky, and the lightning tribulations soon descended. When the first bolt of lightning struck, Yun Yi let out a furious roar and directly dispersed the lightning. A large amount of the power of the heavenly tribulation entered its body. The following heavenly tribulations had the same result. When the seventh heavenly tribulation fell, the spiritual energy in Yun Yi's body fluctuated violently, and a huge white tiger phantom appeared. The white tiger's eyes were also pitch black and carried a dense yin qi and baleful aura. When the seventh heavenly tribulation descended, it was forcefully withstood by the white tiger phantom. The white tiger phantom only dimmed slightly. Yun Yi injected spiritual energy into the phantom, and it recovered again. When the eighth heavenly tribulation descended, the white tiger phantom almost disappeared. Yun Yi injected spiritual energy again, and the ninth heavenly tribulation descended. It directly shattered the white tiger phantom and hit Yun. This fellow's fat was really not for nothing. A heavenly tribulation actually only caused it to suffer some superficial injuries. Yun Yi ate a healing pill and recovered from her injuries. A quarter of an hour later, a white tiger descended from the sky. Its eyes were pitch black. This shocking baleful aura made Wang Daoyuan feel a little apprehensive. Back then, when he formed his core, the spirit body tribulation and the 5 elements divine beasts all appeared. The white tiger divine beast alone was stronger than most cultivators' minor divine power tribulations. However, that white tiger did not have such a powerful baleful aura and deterrence. The soul-devouring dark tiger was indeed unparalleled in terms of aura and soul intimidation. Yun Yi was naturally extremely terrified and trembled in fear. The soul-devouring dark tiger roared, and Yun Yi almost fainted. It also opened its mouth and roared to intimidate the soul-devouring dark tiger. Unfortunately, the soul-devouring dark tiger did not move. Instead, it pounced on it. The 2 cloud patterns on Yun Yi's shoulders turned into wings and flew into the sky to dodge. The soul-devouring dark tiger also flew into the sky to chase after it. However, Yun Yi's wings were not for nothing. She was much faster than it. It could only continuously roar to intimidate Yun Yi and take the opportunity to attack a few times. After 15 minutes, Yun Yi was covered in wounds. She was pressed to the ground and bitten. Soon she fainted. The soul-devouring dark tiger also gradually dissipated, turning into a rich power of the heavenly tribulation. With Yun Yi's fat body, his defense was really not low. If not for the fat protecting her, she would have been torn apart alive by the soul-devouring dark tiger. The bloodline of a divine beast, White Tiger, had nothing to boast about in terms of attack other than roaring. On the contrary, this fat body had extremely strong defense. It was really a wonder. Although it was on the verge of death, it still had some vitality. Wang Daoyuan used the Azure Dragon Pearl to heal it. After 15 minutes, golden raindrops fell from the sky. Yun Yi's injuries recovered quickly. The murderous aura on her body also increased rapidly. The fat on her body became less and less. After 15 minutes, Yun Yi woke up. There was not much fat on her body. She finally looked like a normal tiger. The Wang family members were very familiar with Yun Yi. They hurriedly took food to exchange for the gift of heaven and earth. Yun Yi very generously agreed to the exchange. At this moment, the arowana and the queen bee also woke up. Their spiritual power fluctuations quickly reached the low grade of the 4th stage. 2 tribulation clouds, one big and one small, appeared in the sky at the same time. After the arowana woke up, it immediately jumped into the Nether King River. Its small divine ability was water control. It had a great advantage in the river. Soon, the heavenly tribulation descended from the clouds that were more than 25 kilometers in diameter. It controlled a large amount of river water and formed a black water prison similar to the black tortoise purgatory. The lightning tribulation was useless. On the queen bee's side, the tribulation cloud was much weaker. It was less than 15 kilometers in diameter. Its body emitted something like pollen. The pollen condensed into a shield and blocked the lightning tribulation. After 9 lightning tribulations, the arowana had the geographical advantage and was unharmed. The queen bee directly fainted. However, it did not have any special bloodline. After 9 lightning tribulations, it was fine. When the gift of heaven and earth descended, it would be fine no matter how serious its injuries were. Soon, its gift of heaven and earth descended. At the same time, the arawana's small divine ability tribulation also descended. However, this fellow was sneaky. It directly drilled into the source of the Nether King River, the depths of the Netherworld Cave. It was thousands of feet deep, and there was a huge Yin vein. This arowana probably wanted to use the Yin Qi to resist the power of the heavenly tribulation. It could only be said that this arowana was too young and had not seen the world. Unless it hid in a place like the Netherworld Mystic Realm, it could temporarily avoid the attack of the heavenly tribulation. Soon, a pitch-black true dragon descended from the sky and drilled into the Netherworld Cave. The nearby ground shook slightly. The water in the Nether King River also became unstable. Sometimes, there would be huge waves, and sometimes the river would flow backward. After a quarter of an hour, the commotion disappeared. Not long after, a black arowana floated out with its belly facing the sky. However, this fellow was still alive. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly fished it out and used the Azure Dragon Pearl to treat its injuries. At this moment, Yun Yi was watching the show from the side. She even wanted to use her claws to tease the arowana. After being scolded by Wang Daoyuan, she obediently hid at the side. 15 minutes later, the queen bee's gift of heaven and earth ended. The arawana's gift of heaven and earth began. Wang Dezhao continued to absorb the arawana's gift of heaven and earth. At this moment, a woman's voice sounded. "Master, can I transcend the heavenly tribulation of transformation?" Wang Daoyuan looked. It was the soul-chasing bee queen. It was now half a foot long. The soul-chasing bees had collected a lot of nectar from the demonic soul grass. This queen bee should have eaten a lot too. It was not surprising that it could speak now. The queen bee was female. If it transformed, wouldn't Zhou Luan kill him all the way from the Blood Shadow headquarters? Even if you don't want to live, I still want to live. Why do you want to transform? After saying that, he put it into the space of the spirit pearl. Chapter 856. Under the nourishment of the gifts of heaven and earth, the arowana quickly woke up. At this time, its body had grown to more than 3 feet long, and its head was 3 feet long. It was no different from a true dragon, and its body had also become slender. It looked closer to a true dragon than the old ancestors' arowana, but it was covered in yin energy and looked quite evil. 12th uncle's arowana had absorbed the gifts of heaven and earth from Yun-yi and the other two and had fallen into a deep sleep. It usually stayed at the Jade Dragon Spring and could only eat some Jade Dragon algae, but it had never lived such a good life. It would take a long time to digest so many gifts of heaven and earth. The arawana's gifts of heaven and earth soon ended, and Wang Dezhao also absorbed the gifts of heaven and earth from the 3 spirit beasts. Wang Daoyuan asked, "Dezhao, do you want to transcend the tribulation now?" Wang Dezhao cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, 7th uncle. I feel that my physical body still has room for improvement, so I want to improve a little more before transcending the tribulation." Wang Daoyuan naturally had no objections. Wang Dezhao was less than 300 years old now, so he had plenty of time. The family did not lack a golden core cultivator now, so it was a good thing to strengthen the foundation. He nodded. "Then work hard to improve. Don't worry about the puppet technique. I'll teach it to others first. It won't be too late for you to learn it after you break through." "Yes, 7th uncle. I still have to go to the Green Willow's secret realm for seclusion. Goodbye." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Take your 12th uncle's arowana back to the Jade Spring Peak. I'll ask the Gray Rock to send you back." The Gray Rock carried Wang Dezhao and the arowana to the southwest. After the arowana broke through to the 4th stage, it could not speak human language. After all, its cultivation time could not be compared to Yun-yi and the others, and it ate very little demon soul grass. It sent a voice transmission to Wang Daoyuan. "Master, I want to transcend the tribulation." Wang Daoyuan naturally had no objections. This guy used the power of the Mingshui River to withstand the 9 heavenly tribulations without being injured. When Big Black transformed, he had also seen the tribulation. It was not worth mentioning. With its divine power, it was naturally not a problem. The arowana jumped into the Mingshui River, and a small dark cloud appeared again. The 3 heavenly tribulations soon fell. The black dragonfish blocked the heavenly tribulations with the help of the river water. Soon, the scales on his body turned into a black fish-scaled robe, and he turned into a skinny young man who was 8 feet tall. His face was delicate and pretty, and there were 2 small dragon horns on his forehead. His eyes were darting around, and he didn't look like an honest fish. At this moment, the clone in the space was reading the 10,000 Spirit Catalog. Wang Daoyuan also wanted to see what kind of dragon this guy was. There were a few types of dragons that liked yin qi. Combined with the appearance of the black dragon that had appeared in the minor divine ability tribulation, it was clear that the black dragon was very powerful. Wang Daoyuan was sure that the black dragonfish should belong to the nether dragon bloodline, but it was hard to say which type it was. Legend had it that the nether dragon was the true dragon that guarded the water veins of the underworld. Its strength was considered relatively strong among the dragon clan. Naturally, it couldn't compare to the Azure Dragon, but it was much stronger than the Profound Dragon. His ability to control water could be said to be one of the best among the true dragons of the water dragon species. The young man that the black dragonfish had transformed into came in front of Wang Daoyuan and bowed deeply. "Greetings, master." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Since you have transformed, I will give you a name. Wang Minglong." Hearing this, Yun-yi leaned over with his big furry head. "Master, what about me? Didn't I already name you Yun-yi? From now on, you will be called Wang Yun-yi. Why don't you go through a transformation heavenly tribulation?" Yun-yi shook his big head. "No, after transforming, it will be difficult to cheat barbecue." Wang Daoyuan sighed. This fat cat was hopeless. He had become a 4th-level spirit beast, but he was still so useless. He gave him some inky jade lotus seeds, and this guy ran to the Nether King River to play in the water. Wang Minglong was even younger and had never been out of the space of the spiritual pearl. Everything was new to him, so he also ran to the river to play. Wang Daoyuan sent them a message and told them not to leak the information about the space. Then he returned to his cave residence and continued to make puppets. The other clansmen also followed him to the cave residence. Wang Shouzhe said, "Daoyuan, Teach us some more puppet making methods. I checked some of the family's books, and they all say that the greatest use of puppets is fighting. We only know how to make some spirit plant farmer puppets, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of puppet making. How about you teach us some battle puppet making methods? I think the sword cultivator puppet in Wanchuan Market is very powerful. Wang Daoyuan sighed. I didn't make them. Up until now, I have only made 2 puppets, the 2 that I dismantled for you. Then he took out a thin beast skin book. This is the method to make puppets from 1st to 3rd level. All kinds of puppets are recorded. You can write it down. I don't need to tell you the importance of this inheritance. You must not leak it out. After you learn this inheritance, don't make them casually. The difficulty of making puppets isn't high. The biggest difficulty is the material of the puppet core. There are very few materials that can make a 5th level puppet core. That sword puppet used a 5th level soul crystal. The material I gave you is yellow spring willow wood. Coincidentally, I have some yellow spring willow seeds. Later, I will dig a hole in the north of Serene South Mountain and water it with a portion of the Nether King River to grow the yellow spring willow. Little uncle, you will set up a formation here to protect the yellow spring willow. To make low-level puppets, the need for puppet core materials is much smaller. The few materials that can nurture the soul can have some effect. For example, in the 9 Underworld Black Crystal Mine, you can sometimes dig out a very good or called 9 Underworld Black Jade. At best, it can be used to make a 3rd level puppet. You can discuss with the country of Zhao to buy some 9 Underworld Black Jade. He naturally didn't lack yellow spring willow. In the space of the Ling Bead, on the shore of the Gui Water Nether Spring, as well as the canal in the north, there were hundreds of yellow spring willows. To make this kind of low-level puppet core, he only needed a branch as thick as a little finger. Cutting 4 to 5 inches was enough. A yellow spring willow would only need 10 years to grow many branches like this. However, the matter of the Ling Bead space couldn't be leaked. Wang Shouzhe took the beast skin book and repeatedly said yes. Wang Daoyuan took out a few jade slips. This is the method to make a level 3 spirit gathering pearl. The spirit gathering pearl is a rather special magic tool. It can absorb spirit chi, convert it into spirit chi, and store it. Put the spirit gathering pearl on the puppet. In places with dense spirit chi, the puppet can keep working and save a lot of spirit stones. Zhao Liang, I'll leave this to the crafting hall. Make more of it. However, the method to make it must be kept a secret. Zhao Liang took the jade slips and cupped his hands. After sending everyone away, Wang Daoyuan continued to make puppets in the cave abode. He had been thinking about the mountain gate of the Mirage Fog Sea Valley of Beasts, but the risk was too high, so he hadn't made up his mind. If he could make a few more level 5 puppets, he could send them to explore. After staying in the cave abode for more than a month, Wang Daoyuan could already make level 3 upper-grade battle puppets. Of course, his combat methods were still relatively simple, and he could only use a few simple spells. Just as he was about to make a level 4 puppet, a big furry head stuck in from outside the cave abode. When Wang Daoyuan saw that it was Yun Yi, he asked, "What trouble did you cause this time? Come in and talk." Yun Yi walked into the cave abode, followed by a dejected Wang Minglong. "Master, I didn't cause trouble. It's Wang Minglong." The two of us went downstream along the Nether King River to play, but Wang Minglong insisted on going to the desert. We went to the Mirror Lake Oasis and found a mystic realm. There was a yellow spring inside, and Wang Minglong insisted on going down, saying that it could go home. I was afraid that something bad would happen, so I knocked it out and pulled it back by force. Wang Daoyuan was curious and asked, "Wang Daoyuan, did you awaken your inherited memories?" Wang Minglong answered, "When I saw the spring water, a memory fragment appeared in my sea of consciousness. From the spring water, you can reach a river with dense yin qi. There are many demonic beasts with similar bloodlines to me." You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.